Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the Bus Travel Lounge. You listen to episode 86. My name is Patrick. I'm joined by Saif. Say hi.
Yellow.
And Steve. Say hi.
The Dab King is in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Good follow-up. My follow-up would have been, how are we feeling after watching England just recolonize you real quick?
Do you mind? You think that's funny?
A little bit, actually.
To change topics from that so I don't have to think about sports ball, Microsoft Bing just popped up in the corner of my computer saying, do you want to switch the search engine to this? I do not want to switch my search engine to Bing, thank you very much.
Well, are we all watching the game at the moment?
No.
It's Australia versus Sweden for third place.
Priorities, Steve. We're recording.
Yeah, you can.
We have content to record to the masses. I actually had a semi-serious discussion about this in terms of New Zealand was already out. New Zealand had already fallen out of the tables. So there is therefore a choice. If we take the blue pill, we support just another random team. If we take the red pill, we support the closest still competing neighbor, which would be Australia. And so it's a hard decision because on one hand, we want to rep Oceania. On the other hand, if Australia, God forbid, goes on to win it, we would never hear the fucking end of it.
But you guys are like our little brothers, you Kiwis.
It's for that reason that I am glad that England beat you.
What a horrible thing to say. I know where I stand.
Yeah,
that's fine. You know what? No, it's fine. I'm glad you lost. We'll beat you in the World Cup as well. I bet you guys won't even get out of the pool rounds.
We weren't even playing the same game. We were just stoked to be there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. We'll beat you in the Rugby World Cup. That's all I've got to say about that.
Yeah, good luck. Who are you rooting for? Are you rooting for... So I guess in your position, Steve, are you rooting for England to win? That way you can say that the only team that beat you guys was the one that went on to win? Or do you not want to vote for the people that kicked you out?
No, definitely have to back England, as they say. I'm not happy with it. But the alternative is that the only thing that stopped Australia from winning was England, and that was a very, very rough game as well. As someone that doesn't really watch that much soccer, I thought it was like particularly rough, and the people that I was hanging out with were like, "Whoa, this is a rough game." But yeah, no, we gave it to England. We gave them there was that whole argy-bargy about the Ashes. So we gave them this one just to keep them quiet. It's like when the little brother keeps beating the shit out of the little brother, like absolutely mobs him, and you just give him one because he keeps crying about it. But he's actually a deadbeat. He's like 35 years old and still lives with mom and dad.
I feel like you've thought about this a little bit too much.
I hate England so much.
On some personal experience, perhaps.
I hate England so much, it's unreal.
My final question, given Australia and New Zealand are the host nations for this, if England does go on to win it, is there a universe where it is seen as distasteful that they are taking yet another piece of memorabilia back to put in an English museum?
They didn't steal this one, I guess.
I don't know. Some people I speak to, they say they'd stole it from Australia.
All people you speak to should say they stole it from Australia. Look, the important thing at the end of the day is that they had fun. That's all I can say.
Are you sure they had fun? I don't know about you, Steve. I don't find losing particularly fun.
Yeah, but
when I turn up week after week and get shit on by two other co-hosts for having nothing but bad takes, I wouldn't consider that fun. But yeah, that's just me.
You know what? You know what? It's time to shit on Saif. You got a list for us, Saif? Do you find reading off a list fun, Saif?
Yes, I do. Why do you think I do it every podcast?
Normally the saying goes, if you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. But Steve's version is apparently, if you can't take the heat, drag some poor random restaurant patron into the kitchen and then yell at them. Just fucking Gordon Ramsay their ass.
It worked when I was a 14-year-old guy at Macca's.
We get where the story's going.
Yeah. When I was 14 years old at Macca's, I used to drop a burger on the floor. I just blame a random customer out in the front. Then you know, some guy in drive-thru, it was him. Steve and I watched you drop that burger. No, you didn't. It was that guy in drive-thru.
I'm
I
glad
don't
you
know where I was
don't work at
going with.
McDonald's anymore.
Thank you for saying what we're all thinking, Seth.
To
and
be
now say
honest,
what-
though, the quality hasn't improved much from that.
It's
But
No,
still,
I guess
it's
you're
no, it could
right.
have been lower.
Actually, when is the last time you guys have had McDonald's? Because I genuinely don't think I've had McDonald's since coming out of lockdown, which would have been
oh shit!
like,
Follow this guy.
like a year, 18 months ago.
God damn.
I had it about 4 weeks ago. We were picking up suits for a friend's wedding, and on the way back, I'm like, I'm starving. So then I got some Mickey D's, as they call it.
I think
but
it was
before that, I don't
last
think I
weekend
had
I
it.
got
Well-
like a chicken and cheese and a frozen drink.
Wow, even dropping the order. Wow, what do you want people to dox you? What's wrong with you?
Which Macca's did you get it from?
Yeah.
I got it from
What
the
was the
one
name of your
that's on the back
server?
of your mum's credit card number.
I don't think. Wait, and did your mum pay for your meals? You're not a strong, independent podcast.
No, your mum pays for my meals.
Oh fuck! Fell into that
Hook,
one,
line, and sinker.
ladies and gentlemen. He got me.
Speaking of things to get, why don't we get into Round the Lounge for this week?
Oh, that's a good segue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Seth, other than dunking on Steve, what else have you been up to this week?
Yeah, so
Sure.
for about the last month I've been waiting for delivery parts to come through, but it's finally all here and I made my Hitbox, which is an all button controller. And I think I mentioned
I'll
it
show
last
you
week.
a hitbox in a minute. I'll show you mum's hitbox. Hang on, that was rats.
Jesus,
with the
Steve,
bag
too
again.
far. Too far. Read the room, guy.
I don't think I even want to be on this podcast with him anymore.
Good, kick me off. Your
No,
viewers will
I'll kick myself off and then you have to edit.
Nah, I'd love to edit. I'm just
I love that that's a serious threat.
No, Pat and I will just record, and just no one will edit it. We'll release the we'll release the Snyder
Where's the
cut.
latest episode? Oh yeah, find me on find me uploading the like each track individually on SoundCloud, and you have to start each one at the same time.
Stephen always forgets to erase his dropping of the no gigante word.
I know. What do you mean? You're gonna get us cancelled.
Seth,
You'll
stop!
get
He's already
yourself
dead.
cancelled. Anyway, I think I
So
mentioned it
this
last week,
hitbox-
but I think I mentioned it last week. But I played some Gravity Circuit, and I just binged the rest of that game on a Friday night and finished it. So I have some thoughts about that game.
Oh, nice. Steve, what have you been up to?
I've been getting my Jewel on because a couple weeks ago, the Game Boy Color version of the
You've been
Pokemon
playing
trading
Duel
card.
Masters?
Yeah, no. No, I've been playing Chaotic. You guys ever watch that show? Fuck. I even had some of the cards as well. Let's get chaotic.
I didn't watch it, but
Oh.
I had a tin with the cards.
Oh, man. Whatever happened to that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to fall into that rabbit hole. On Kickstarter, actually. No, I'm joking. No, so I've been playing the Pokemon trading card game. It is the Game Boy Color version of it. I've heard very, very many good things, and they brought it to the Switch in all of Nintendo's benevolent glory. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to play it. And you know what? It's good.
And you know what? I bet you printed cards for the TCG on Game Boy Color, didn't you?
No, I don't need to do that.
Okay, 0 from 1. We'll see if I can pull it back through the rest of the episode. I don't know.
get
You
us
just,
next time.
you just sort of strike me as the guy who would absolutely print virtual trading cards.
I'm not below that. I may have done that before. But that's all in good fun.
Fair enough. Right, before we jump into that, I realized that it's been, I guess, 2 or 3 episodes before I lovingly give my random 5-minute update on what I've been doing as part of Round the Lounge. I, while just sort of recovering from a long week of work, decided to boot up Hollow Knight finally, and have been playing that for a couple hours, and really enjoying it. I know that
What a
Seth
game.
when Seth and I were discussing platform mechanics, we were saying neither of us felt particularly comfortable with how Celeste played. I feel almost like I want to say very comfortable with like one caveat, which is that there is a particular biome where you like bounce on some fungus, which gets a little jerky in terms of where you expect the movement to go. But other than that, very smooth platforming experience. It's been really fun. As I say, I'm a few hours into it. Stay tuned for more updates and eventually some probably 40-ish minute conversation / monologue of me talking about how great it is.
That's my favorite.
I mean, at least with that one, I can join you on it because I streamed through that game like a year and a half ago, and I really liked it.
Oh, interesting. Where'd you stream it?
Yeah.
I streamed it over on twitch.tv/Kai_Burr. That is TAI_BEHR. I have not streamed in like 6 months.
Yeah, well, maybe it's time to start streaming.
Maybe it is, Stephen. Maybe it is.
Imagine we start streaming these episodes like live.
Hopefully we can get like a when it warms up, we can do a hot tub stream.
Hold on, let him boil.
What, now that we're all in 3 different cities? Yeah, mad, great idea.
Hey, well, I've still got a couple more days until I move to
Oh yeah,
Melbourne.
we should have talked about how we finally met in person.
Yeah, I know, right? How crazy is that? I've been doing this for like 80 episodes, and Steph and I finally met in person.
Yeah,
I kept introducing him to all my friends.
I don't know which of you I feel more sorry for in that situation. We're going to have to think about
that. Not me. Because I kept introducing Steph as, hey, whoever you are, this is Saif. He's the guy from the podcast. You listen to my podcast, don't you?
It was less introducing me and more shilling the podcast to his friends.
They all know I do it.
Good ending.
And I'm sure they all listen. Shout out to the real. If you listen, come up to me with the password Eastern Lake, and I'll buy you something.
Superfan Dan's first words to me was, "How did you talk about Final Fantasy 16 for 7 hours?"
That was my first words to you as well, wasn't it?
I think it might have been my first words to you after that as well, actually.
Actually, I think it might have been my first words when I was born.
You were just holding on to that one for, what, 28, 29 years?
Your birth is actually just a 3-part spoiler cast.
The prophecy is complete. Yeah,
the ancient texts.
The ancient. Very funny. But yeah, thanks for coming, Pat, as well. I know it was a big deal for you to come all the way from New Zealand, but much appreciated.
Yeah, no. Thanks for all the silverware and all of the screws holding up the joints in your house.
It's not my house, you fucking idiots. The landlord's. He's going to do an end of lease inspection.
Jokes on your landlord. I have a bag full of screws and a bag full of silverware.
Well, it's my silverware. Bring it back.
Make me. Anyway, speaking of make me do things, Seth, why don't you make us listen to what the hell a hitbox is?
Sure. Hold on 1 second.
Fuck. What do you mean?
That's what a hitbox sounds like.
Oh. Do it again. I was fucking around. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
No. I didn't hear anything.
Okay, I'm not doing it a third time.
Right.
Anyway, what a hitbox is...
You were going to make a joke about hitting Steven. So the hold on a sec was you running to Steve's house.
Actually fucking brutalizing me.
If I lived near Steven, that could have been a possibility. Like, I just come back after the break, and the break comes back, and you just hear Steven yell, "Ow!"
Literally 3 seconds. I'm only like 45 Ks from you. Just get jogging. You'll get there eventually.
I look at who's talking, and I suddenly see Seth stop talking, and then I hear Seth's voice on Steve's mic.
Dude, Steven, I'm inside your walls.
But yeah, a quick introduction. A hitbox is an arcade stick controller, but instead of having a stick, you have 4 directional buttons for your left, right, up, and down movements. A lot of people do.
So you're playing with an accessibility controller.
Pardon?
So you're playing with an accessibility controller.
Essentially, yeah, because it's a lot of people use hitboxes because they have cleaner inputs than what you would have on an arcade stick. For me, essentially, I just wanted to give it a try because I wanted to see how it would feel comfort-wise. Because playing fighting games on a DualShock controller, after about half an hour, my hands start cramping and hurting. Arcade stick is fine for a while. It's actually fairly comfortable, but after a long session, my wrist is tired from moving the stick back and forth. So I just wanted to give a hitbox a try, see how long like that holds out for me, how much more comfortable it is. It's not necessarily going to make me better at fighting games. In fact, in the short term, it's going to make me worse while I learn how to play on this damn thing. But for now, I've played on it for about an hour and a half. Like last night, I did just an hour and a half session with this guy from Mexico that was playing Jury, and we had some pretty solid matches. Wait,
do you know this person, or was it just some rando?
Not know personally, but he's on a Discord server that I'm in. So I was just like, hey, does anyone want to play some Street Fighter 6? He ended up replying, yeah, sure, let's, and we just played for about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half?
Yeah. First 6 matches, he absolutely stomped me, like put my face in the dirt, and then I started picking up a couple of wins, and as I was starting to get more comfortable, and like I went back and looked at like comparing what my first match of the night looks like to my second match, and like you can see like after that long playing it, I got really comfortable using the hitbox and just more confident in playing with it at the same as well. So that was good to see, good to know. And
so the biggest question that I had with this, it might be that you end up throwing an image on the screen so that way people watching get an idea of what it looks like. But
great for audio content.
Yeah, excellent for audio. Just imagine what a hitbox looks like.
You already know what it sounds like.
Now imagine Steve getting punched. It's the same thing. No, what I was actually going to say was, because you have effectively built this from scratch, is it more popular to put the up, down, left, right buttons in the what I call the arcade configuration in terms of like loosely where the directions are? Or is it more common to kind of do the ergonomic thing and put them in a line, that way you've just got one finger on each? And if it's the second one, which finger do you have mapping to like which direction? Because I think that would be the thing that would screw me the most.
Okay, so I'm going to imagine you all have a keyboard in front of you. It is a straight line configuration.
See, that's crazy to me.
So it'd be like if you had your fingers, your ring finger, left ring finger on the A key, middle ring finger on the D key, index finger around the F key, and your thumb on the space bar. And from left to right, it's left, down, right, and then jump up.
Okay.
My hand started cramping up.
In a million years, I never would have guessed that's the layout you're going for. I was assuming it'd be like ASDF or something.
It's
but
because
it'd be weird getting used to like S always being down and D always being up, for example. Like that would just mess with my head.
Yeah, I'd need to take a picture to show how it actually looks like with my hands on the controller. But basically, you have both your thumbs resting on the biggest button that's down the bottom for your jump. And that's just because most fighting game inputs are like quarter circles. So you just like tap your fingers from like middle to one of the sides and then like kind of do a rolling motion to do your Hadouken motions.
Hadouken! Sorry, I can't help myself.
But yeah, it sounds weird, but it's actually really natural when you like have it in your hands.
How much did it cost you to build this?
A little under 400. And that's
like parts and stuff?
It only got up to that much because I made it PS5 compatible. If I didn't want it to be working on PS5, it would have been under 300.
Okay.
So when you say PS5 compatible, does that mean that when you plug it in via USB and then remove the USB cable, the little bit of the USB stays in there? Is that the compatibility part?
No, it's to make sure it doesn't do that. It won't overheat the PS5. See, my controller is naturally compatible. It doesn't need to go through a converter.
Look, as long as you're having a good time, who am I to judge? You having fun?
I am actually having fun. And also, like, the other thing I wanted to point out was that, hey, I mentioned this guy I was playing with was from Mexico. We had, like, 300 to 500 MS ping. The game still ran pretty much flawlessly because Street Fighter 6 is magic with netcode.
I mean, it's magic with the. Oh, okay, no, so it's just good.
Yeah, yeah.
No, literal magic.
Oh, hang on.
That and Street Fighter 6 and Guilty Gear Strive are like the best games with netcode at the moment. They run really well, no matter how far the distance is.
So, I don't know. No, look, as long as it works.
Yeah,
Is this gonna make couch co-op or like couch party fighting games awkward because someone will come around and you'd be like, all right, let's just have a couple friendlies of Street Fighter, and then you go get the hitbox and then you hand the controller to your friend.
I don't think it'd make it that weird because like for a lot of those it's just like what people prefer to use, and at this point I've got the hitbox, I've got an arcade stick, and I've got a controller, and unfortunately I have a controller with stick drift, which isn't going to be good to use in a party sense. But yeah, I've basically got every base covered for what type of controller people would be interested in using. But in saying that, I'm out of the people I know, I'm the only person that would be like, oh yeah, I want to use the arcade stick or the hitbox.
Interesting. Do you have plans to use this for any games other than fighting games? Given that you spent $400 redos on it, literally half the cost of a PlayStation.
No, it'd be interesting to use it in beat 'em up games or like 2D platformers. Like, I loaded up the Gravity Circuit earlier to do some just to quickly check something, but I had the hitbox already plugged in, so I was just scrolling through the menus with that, and it just kind of struck me that maybe this would be a decent controller to play that game as well. Like anything 2D based would be pretty good for it. So essentially, yeah, I'll give it a try on other things like 2D platformers or beat 'em up games and see how it goes on those.
Do you think you'll? Will you have to remap it if you're using it on a different?
No. No, I don't think you would.
Okay, that's fine then.
All fun and games until Sep's playing Monster Hunter World 2 with a hitbox.
Oh no! Oh no! So I played the Street Fighter 6 story mode on the arcade stick, and that was hell to do. Because you essentially just have 8 directions you can move and no stick for the camera control. They mapped a button for you to be able to do it with the arcade stick layout, but it wasn't a fun time.
Yeah, that sounds fucking atrocious. Ugh.
But yeah, no. Essentially, yeah, I just made this because I really wanted to give it a try. It costs less for me to like buy the parts and build it up instead of like just buying a branded hitbox and having it imported over here. So I think it worked out pretty alright for me so far.
How much did all of the Final Fantasy 16 stickers cost, which I assume is what you stuck all over the hitbox?
You promised you wouldn't make me bring this up in front of Steven.
This is exactly why I'm bringing it up. Because Steve just said, as long as you're having fun, who am I to judge? And I want to see how far I can push that envelope.
The hitbox is not branded with any stickers yet. I'm thinking about what I want to put as the cover art on it, though. I haven't decided yet.
Waste.
As long as the girl is fully clothed, I support whatever you choose.
Does a bikini count?
Seth, you know deep down the answer to that question.
I get the feeling if you have to ask, does it count?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, the answer is you can do it, but I will judge you heavily.
Okay, and Lord forgive me for saying this. Can you see the woman's feet in the sticker?
I will make sure you cannot.
But it's a funny way of phrasing it.
In saying
what doesn't matter. Let's probably putting the feet somewhere else. That's fine.
And while the audience thinks about that, we're going to move swiftly along. So, any final thoughts from you, Seth?
No, it's fun so far. I'm glad I bought it. I'll put more time into it to see how I go with it, but I don't know if I'll actually like bring it up again. I just wanted to bring it up this week to go, hey, I built this thing. It's fun.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool enough. Power to you for building it. I really like that. That's pretty cool.
Speaking of building, Steve, what sort of deck are you building in Pokemon TCG
Oh.
GCB? GBC. Damn it! Oh man, I was so close.
no,
All
so
the B's and C's and shit. They tripped me up. They tripped me up.
So it's the Pokemon TCG for the GBC. I've got it right in front of me so I wouldn't forget. As we're
OMG.
So how much interaction did you fellas have with? Okay, so 2 points. How much interaction did you have with this game when it came out in like the year 2000?
Zero.
How much Zero? Well,
Zero. That's
Zero?
an easy one.
Okay.
Didn't have a Game Boy Color. Didn't play this.
Man, parents must have hated you.
And
how
your
much
follow-up
interaction-
question is how much interaction I have with the actual TCG? Also
You know
zero.
what? You're right. Yep, cool. You can do my part then, Seth. You're gonna be like that.
I just wanted to have a guess. I wanted to read
Cool.
you.
Now talk about it. Talk about it. You want to be like that? You want to take
See,
my
what's interesting is Seth went and built a $400 controller to be better than someone in a fighting game, but he can read Steve that easily. He could probably just do it with a steering wheel.
in a fighting? Okay, so did you play the Pokemon TCG at all, Pat?
So I was one of those kids that had TCG cards because that was just the cool thing to trade at the playground and stuff. But it was only the trading card part and none of the game part. But during a summer break from uni a few years ago, well, many years ago now, one of my brothers and I, we put like 20 or $30 each, and then just went to like the local game shop and just bought a bunch of packs and just made a couple decks and just played. And it was actually really good fun for like a couple weeks.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So I have played the TCG, but I've only played the TCG for like the period of like 2 weeks, and that was with one deck. But
Was that period of 2 weeks also the 2-week period where fairy types existed in the TCG?
Actually, it might have been. I don't remember if I saw a fairy energy or not. Huh. I have to think about that now, Seth. Thanks. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
For the
I love
purposes
throwing you
of,
under the bus.
for the purposes of this conversation, fairy types don't exist. So this game came out in the year 2000 for us English speakers. But it came out,
What a year.
yeah, what a year, man. Y2K, eh?
I started kindergarten.
Same. But yeah, anyway. So this game came out in 2000 for us in 98 for our good friends in the land of the rising sun.
Oh, an even better year.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, I'm just rattled. So recently, in like the latest Pokemon Presents, as discussed on this show, they released the Pokemon trading card game onto the Nintendo Switch Online for all people that have a Nintendo Switch Online account. And I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. Everyone's like, yep, it holds up in like some way, shape, or form. And I'm like, I as someone who used to get a lot of like the Yu-Gi-Oh, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS games, and I did sort of play the TCG when I was a kid. The Pokemon podcasts that I listened to sort of explain some of the new mechanics. Not that I really understand it, but I sort of understand how it works. So I thought I'll give it a try, and I got to admit, fellas, it's very fun.
Wait, the TCG or this game specifically?
This game specifically, from my understanding,
because I assume this game specifically would have been. I mean, well, it definitely was, but the year 2000 being way before. Because I think you can even do like Mega Revolutions, and there's like EX cards and all other like. Okay, context. During one of the worlds, I don't think it was Last Worlds. It might have been the worlds beforehand. On a break, just swapped to the stream of the TCG rather than the I guess at the time DS. Maybe it was still Switch at the time. Anyway, rather than the like actual Pokemon games, I swapped to a TCG stream, and it was two people with identical decks, and they had a card in basically every different orientation imaginable. And they like one turn would go for like 5 minutes, and they're just flipping cards. It honestly looked like a magic turn. Everyone's like tapping various cards and flipping over shit and summoning this and that kind of crap. And I imagine year 2000 it would have just been a simpler game and therefore just easier to get into. Would that be accurate?
That is 100% accurate. I do not understand what goes on in the TCG anymore. I this world, I watched a couple of streams, and I'm like, wouldn't be able to tell you what the fuck is going on. They're like the turns go for like 4 years, but they seem to be having fun. So who am I to judge?
There was a both teams when I watched it were using a water type that I was surprised was like top of the meta because it wasn't a legendary. I forget what it was, but it was like both teams were rocking like 4 or 5 copies of this one water type. Shoot, I don't remember now.
Doesn't matter.
Not to keep overriding stuff, Steve, but it's also just funny to bring this up now because we announced that Pokemon were retiring their previous TCG online, I don't know, app game thing, and we're bringing out a new one. Is that already been done, or is that still in the works? If anyone knows.
Would not be able to tell you. From my understanding is they had an app, a weird app online portal before, like in like the late 2010s, and it was absolute fucking dog shit. So then Pokemon joined up with the people that do the Magic the Gathering online, and sort of retiring the old one and going to the new one. And I think it's been rolled out.
Yeah,
and
it looks like it's rolled out now. Pokemon TCG Live.
Yeah, and I've heard it's good, and it's like you can sort your cards, which is a key feature the other one didn't have, and apparently it's pretty good.
And it has a battle pass.
All games have a battle pass now, Saif.
Based.
You might as well say water is wet or the sky is blue.
Wait, Steve. Does Pokemon TCG for the GBC have a battle pass?
Does not. Is it from a simpler time?
Wow.
Yeah.
What is the point? Why would you even play that?
Yeah, there's no gashing mechanics as well. There's no point.
This current battle pass is Charizard themed.
Oh.
Big fucking surprise. God, I'm shocked. And I reckon the battle pass next week or next month or next season will be Mewtwo themed.
No, Seth, I don't know how to tell you this. I can almost guarantee the previous and next battle pass are also Charizard themed.
Shocked. There's like 40 Charizard cards. And like 2 Charmeleons.
Yeah, I'm guessing they change it out whenever a new TCG set comes out because this one's for Scarlet and Violet Obsidian Flames.
Anyway, going back
to Obsidian Flames of Charizard.
Well, it's Flames, Fire, Charizard. There you go. Obsidian, Dark Terror type, Shiny Charizard. Who knows? Mega Charizard X. Who knows? Yeah, but anyway, going back to this, the Pokemon trading card game. It has a very good tutorial mode, so it teaches you how to use the cards. Essentially Pokemon use your attacks by like putting energy on it. So that's the point of differentiation for this Pokemon game. And it teaches you how to play. And when you beat like opponents, they give you 2 packs. So it's not like as if you get a bunch of money and you have to go to the shops and buy a bunch of dumb shit cards. You get the packs by actually battling. Dueling, I think is the word they use. It should be a surprise to no one as someone who is a fire chad. I picked the
Charizard deck.
The Charizard deck, because it's like, oh, you can pick 3 decks. Do you want Blastoise, Venusaur, or Charizard decks? I'm like, yeah, fucking big surprise. Which one am I getting? Charizard.
Imagine not being a Blastoise Chad. Squirtle squad up.
It's very easy for me not to imagine.
Imagine they swap Bulbasaur for Chikorita just to tank its participation even further.
Well, they don't have any of the Gen 2 Pokemon, so this is specifically Gen 1 only. And the general premise of the game is you have to beat 8 card
Giovanni?
No. Not even close.
Excuse me?
Yeah, you heard me. So essentially what you've got to do is you've got to beat...
you are Giovanni.
You've got to beat 8 Club Masters, then defeat 4 Grand Masters, and then the champion. So it's essentially... You're doing gym battles, and then the Elite Four, and then the champion. It's very light on the in between thing. It's literally like a main. It's like a map, and it's like, okay, cool. I'm going to go to the Psychic Gym, or the Fighting Gym, or the Rock Gym. But because Rock isn't a type, they use Fighting for that. It's just Rock type Pokemon. So it's very like light on the journey between it, and it does focus more on the cards.
Is Team Rocket there to like gen Pokemon cards, and you have to turn up and be like, no, genning's illegal and bad.
That's in the news section. You're jumping. That's in the news section. But no, there has been no Team Rocket. Like, it's very light on story. It's like you've got your 8 people to beat, go beat them. And then when you get to the like one of the gym leaders, essentially, it's like, oh, cool, you're gonna beat 3 of my trainers first. And it's like, oh fuck, all right, here we go.
Isn't it funny that what you're describing is literally the new gym only pathway for Scarlet Violet?
Not really, because there's still a journey between them. Whereas this, it's literally like a hub map type of thing, and then it just teleports you to the next gym. And they can be taken in any order though. So it's a bit of an open world, I guess. Menus are open. But yeah, no, it's very easy to create a new deck. Like after you get a shit ton of cards, there's I know it's going to sound weird that like it's quite a variety of cards, and maybe this is just because I don't understand what cards are available at the time. But like for example, you can have there's like two types of Rapidash cards. Like one Rapidash card is it's a level 36 Rapidash, and it knows like quick attack and agility, and it's like it doesn't do a lot of damage, but if you use agility, flip a coin, if heads, you take no damage the next turn. Whereas the other Rapidash, which is like level 40 or whatever, it knows like flamethrower, which does 50 damage, but you have to remove fire energy from it. Like so, it's a diverse set of. You can build your deck one way to support like whether it be damage dealers, status effect inputs, or you could build it in a completely different way as well. And it sort of does encourage you, like as you go on, to not focus on one type. Like it's funny as and cool as it would be to have one like just a fire deck. When you get that Charmander deck, it's got some electric cards or some electric types in there and a couple of normal types. And just when you get it, you can sort of understand why, because all fire types take double damage from water types. So if you walk into the water gym, you're just going to get fucking steamrolled from like a Magikarp that does like 30,000 damage from like one water energy. So it's good, and it's sort of with a tutorial, it tells you exactly what to do, but then it sort of shows you how you should design your deck by the starter that it's given you. And I think that's pretty neat. Like it's always quite hard, like picking up one of these TCG games that have like a story behind it, and it's a single player experience if you don't know how to play the game. And I sort of did understand how to play the game, but I'd forgotten like you can only attach one energy per turn. There's 7 cards in your hand, and just some of more of the interaction. And I will say, because this is obviously like the first set they've done, or the first set of cards that they introduced. There's no like bullshit effects. Like it's this move does damage. This move is like a head or tails, or it does more damage. This one's a status effect. This move
does damage based on the average price of gas in your neighborhood.
Yeah, there's none of that bullshit.
It had 25 years of power creep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's just why I'm finding it very refreshing. And everyone's like, oh, they should make another one now. And I'm like, I don't fucking think they could. There's like a bajillion cards out there. They're sets, because the Pokemon sets expire. Like there's 4 or 5 sets that are in rotation, and they rotate it out and make you buy new cards, which I think is a fucking scam. But they couldn't.
There's a reason for it, but it's kind of to avoid what Yu-Gi-Oh does, where everything is viable, which also means everything has to be viable.
Yeah, which means everything, you got to balance it out until you get like one mega power card, and then you get the power creep that way. But it's still, but there isn't any of that kind of power creep in that, and it's very refreshing. And the way that it displays the text, like this is a Game Boy Color game, let's not all forget. Reading it on that fucking small screen would be impossible. Like it's cool, I can have it on my 55-incher at the moment, but it really only has like 3 lines of text at like any one time. So even if it was on the small screen, it'd be pretty good.
Oh, I see. Where you're not reading like paragraphs of card effects.
Yeah, and it's like, next page, next page, next page. And like back then, none of the card effects went for more than like two or three sentences anyway. But the way it presents the cards is pretty cool as well. Like there's like it'll have the card picture, and it'll have it'll have essentially what the card is, and then the next screen will have like the details of each attack, and then we'll have like a description of like the Pokédex entry for the Pokemon, which all the cards have. But it's just, I can appreciate the small limited space they're working in, and they've used like a window sort of setting to sort of show you everything and not like skip ahead or have to zoom into a size 1 font. And the way that they handle the card game as well is pretty neat. It's like, it is a little bit of menus within menus. But let's say my Growlithe attacks a Squirtle, and uses a flare attack. It's got a unique animation. So it seems like all attacks have unique animations, which I fucking fuck with 100%.
That's really cool.
Yeah, especially when you're using like Charizard's Fire Spin and it like takes up half the screen or half the enemy screen. It's on fire. And it is really cool. And you can tell they've put a lot of work into it in terms of presentation and the fluidity, how fluid the game is. So it doesn't feel like it's a chore to play. And it does feel like the more I'm playing, the more I'm getting the hang of it. And there probably is like maybe I think I've beaten like 3 of those gym leader, club masters, whatever they're called things. And it's not that it's difficult anymore. Like I've got my deck pretty much sorted. There are probably a couple of things here and there I can change. I'm struggling a bit with like the type advantages type of things because the Pokemon TCG has like weaknesses and resistances just like Pokemon does. So
I was going to say, because you don't get dual typings in TCG. Do you actually have? Can a card be weak to multiple things? I feel like it only has one weakness type.
I think some of the later ones can, but none in any of this one. And it's sort of like it does sort of fit with the Pokemon. Like it's like so. There's no rock type, there's no rock type in the TCG. There's only a fighting type that's the equivalent. But you'll get like a Geodude, and it's a fighting type, but it's weak against water. So if you do understand the core mechanics of Pokemon, you can sort of bring them over. So if you are building like a fighting deck,
as long as you understand the core mechanics of Pokemon, you understand that a literal floating rock is weak to a pail of water, but will fight you on sight.
Yes. Something I don't know, something about the
I mean, when you
water,
phrase it like that, it makes perfect sense
Yeah.
because that is what Geodude is.
It
Yeah.
is. How come it
Well,
evolves?
part of that was the lie, Seth.
How come it evolves into Graveler with 4 arms and Golem with 2 arms?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. We just need to be asking the questions.
Yeah, it's true.
How can Magneton fit in 1 Pokeball when it's 3 Pokemon? I'm just saying. The people need to know.
How come?
I mean-
how come the sheer existence of Makago as a Pokemon would cause just catastrophic damage to the Earth's core?
Legends RC has already answered that question for you, Stephen, as that when they get hit by Pokeballs, they shrink.
So all 3 of them shrink. That doesn't seem fair.
All 3 of them are 1 unit, like Cerberus. Cerberus has 3 heads, but it's 1 dog.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it didn't
Magneton
start
is
as
specifically 3
one
Pokemon.
dog. When it got more powerful, it didn't become 3 dogs like taped together.
Also, Metagross is like, what, 4 Beldums?
That's different. It doesn't look like 4 Beldums. It looks like 1 Metagross. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. I'm really liking this game. I encourage people to check it out. The way that it sort of, because in the Pokemon TCG, to use a Yu-Gi-Oh example, how you usually have 8,000 life points, you've got 6 prize cards, but to make the game a bit more faster, unless it's like a big match, it'll give you 4 prize cards, which is sort of like the Battle City and Yu-Gi-Oh rules where it's like 4,000 life points. So it does feel like the game does go a bit faster. But then at the same time, it can sort of get away from you because like the catch-up mechanic is a lot harder because it's like, oh, if I get like a good prize card, I can get in. But then like it never really works out. But you're better than all the CPUs anyway. AI wasn't really that developed then. But yeah, I rate it.
You didn't mention if it has multiplayer.
There's like a little booth thing that's obviously you could have done battling over like a link cable, but I'm not sure.
So you need to use a link cable. Like it's like a 1-to-1 emulation. You need to link cable the switches together.
And you need to get like an adapter for the link cable to be like USB-C or something. How fucking grim. But I'm not sure if they sort of translated that into like a wireless connection. They could have. I'm not sure. I have no clue.
I think
to be honest.
they
I
should
don't
have
really care.
online features for it as well.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Like online features, they probably do. Would not be able to tell you if it's true or not, though.
But what you're saying is that it's fun enough just in single player that it's still worth checking out.
Yeah, like it's good. I rate it. It's genuinely fun. Like I don't know. I did have a little bit of exposure to the TCG as a kid, so I think I was sort of a bit more along the.
You were already TCG pilled?
Yeah. Based and TCG pilled, and now I've just played this, and I'm like, oh man, do I want to get into the the real life TCG? And the answer is no, I don't.
Yeah, I'm looking at card prices, and a booster box is $200. And that's from going to a card shop. If you want to pay the EB Games tax, it's like $280, I think it was. EB Games is a fucking rip-off, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Hold on, let me double check myself on that one.
Membership?
Sorry, it's $228, but that's on sale. Its regular price is $288.
Yeah, it's and I get the feeling like there sort of is like a weird RNG mechanic about like trading card games anyway. So imagine like paying like $5,000 for this deck only to draw like shit cards on the first turn and you lose.
Actually, Solid JJ has a video similar to that, which came out in the last 24 hours. What was it? Summoning Exodia?
Oh yeah, very funny. Very funny. Yeah, if opponent gets a good draw,
excellent video.
Yeah.
Shout out to Solid JJ.
Yeah, shout out. Fucking fantastic stuff.
Hopefully he shouts us out as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was thinking like now we have to do like for a like rules.
But yeah, I rate it. Will I be giving it a rating out of 10? Not really, because it's a bit weird.
Flip a coin right now.
Yeah. If heads,
other people play it. Tails, only you play it.
I don't have a coin near me. No one carries coins anymore. But yeah, I'd recommend people check it out. It's an especially heavy recommend if you did have some sort of interaction with the trading card game. It's very simple as well. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, in today's day and age, the idea of a simple TCG is more appealing to me than a crazy, look how deep the lore gets TCG.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And because it is so simple, it sort of does half become, I just drew better cards than you, sorry. But at the same time, I simply play games to win and get the I win, yay. Gotta get some validation, right?
Especially coming from me, who was literally reading what a Ring Bearer card did for the Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings expansion at that random deck building afternoon I was at like a month ago. 2 months ago.
Hang on, let me read your card, and it's like size 1 font.
Yeah, exactly. You sit down with a book and a cup of coffee.
Jesus.
Oh, man. Anyway, well, thank you for that, Steve. Seth, returning to you now. What circuit did you connect gravity to, and what happened?
I don't know how to roll off that. That's a very weird tangent.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because rolling is something that is much easier under gravity.
Anyway, Gravity Circuit. Very, very, very good game that I enjoyed a lot. It's heavily inspired by Mega Man and the Strider series, which is a very weird.
This is a kart racing game?
No, it is not.
The fuck's the point? What is the fucking point?
This man never likes what I bring to the table.
No, and I never will.
I mean, to be fair, some of the things you brought to the table recently is you spending $400 on a hitbox and you spending, I think, what was it? Was it $17,000 on the custom OST for Final Fantasy 16?
Yeah, that he can't
that's
play.
underselling it a little bit.
Oh, sorry, $18,000.
Maybe double that. I spent Steven's entire salary on that OST.
I don't get paid. But yeah, no, I'm still having a panic attack about that stuff, but it's fine. As long as you're having fun, right?
I am having fun giving you a panic attack.
You just must simply just consume.
Always consume. Speaking of consuming, hey, Steven, I bought Bomb Rush Cyberpunk today. I'm not playing it till tomorrow, though.
Ah, it's fine.
Oh, also speaking of consuming, Steven, how's the God damn it!
Yeah,
what was
good chat.
What was the what was the pre-order bonus for we were going through the pre-order bonuses. The skateboard. Yeah, how's the skateboard?
Stuff. Yeah, no, it's mad. I took it to the skate park and some teenagers rolled me for it. Yeah, mad. You happy now?
Clearly, it means you have to buy another one.
You should probably pay someone to ship it to you from Europe.
I'm not going to do that.
That was a low blow, man.
not as low blow as the teenagers that kicked him in the balls and stole his skateboard.
Bastards. I hate teenagers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what is Gravity Circuit actually about?
Yeah, so Gravity Circuit's a Mega Man inspired game, but instead of having a shooty jump and shoot ban, you have a punch bot where literally you just run up to everything and start punching it to death. You have a free hit ground combo, a free hit air combo.
So you're playing Street Fighter.
More like a Streets of Rage, a Mega Man Streets of Rage. You also get a dive kick to help like get you from the air to the ground faster. And my favorite addition to this type of game, you have a grapple hook. The grapple hook latches onto enemies and it latches onto the environment, which means you can use it to swing around and platform using it. It is probably one of the greatest additions to this type of game ever. Like,
so you're playing Bulletstorm.
Yeah, I guess. I think maybe more Bionic Commando than Bulletstorm.
Oh, yeah.
Is
it weird that I actually see what you mean by that?
It's
how
even weirder that I had to
though?
make that connection, and I knew that I was hoping. I just have to hope that someone else would catch it as well. But yeah,
sure. Like as soon as you mentioned grappling hook, I'm like, man, Bulletstorm was such a game.
Just Cause as well. Anything with a grappling hook is fantastic. Honestly,
it's true.
That's very true.
But yeah, you can use that grappling hook to so after you beat down enemies, they have like 2 phases of death. One of them where they turn grey and then they turn red, and that's an overkill. While they're grey, you can use a grapple hook to grab them and then toss them at other enemies, and it's really satisfying to do that. You can also just grab environmental objects and toss those at enemies to take them out in one hit, hopefully. Very, very fun mechanic, and a lot of core mechanics to roll around using that grapple hook really well. They also just straight up give you a sprint button instead of having a dash button like in Mega Man X. So it just gives you that option to just keep running and going forward without having to like continuously mash the dash button to try and get faster and faster. You just keep that momentum up the entire time. So yeah, it gets really fast paced when you combine that sprint with that grapple hook, and then also later down the line get a double jump, and it just becomes a very mobile game that's really satisfying to play.
I get the feeling there's like, well, I'm not really a big fan of beat 'em ups. There, I said it. Kill me for it. Is there a lot of like platforming elements to it? Like you say,
get the hitbox.
You say that you're
King
like
Hitbox.
Oh, hang on, Coward Punch. Like you say, it is like Mega Man inspired, and Mega Man is a platformer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of.
So yeah, there are a lot of platforming elements to this as well. It's just the beat 'em up elements is more for how you deal with enemies, because Mega Man games you shoot, so you pick them off from far away, while this forces you to get up close and engage with them, or even just like use your dive kick to bounce off them and then keep going past them.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I get the feeling I don't understand, therefore I'm just ragging on you for it. As someone who's never played a Mega Man game either.
Yeah, if you have to make me go and describe a Mega Man game as well, this gets a lot longer, so I will let you stew on that instead.
Oh, it's not looking good. Sweden just scored 1-0.
At the end of the tutorial level, you also unlock essentially your special moves. So with like holding down direction and pressing a button, you do things like just a big wind-up punch that does a lot of damage. Or my favorite move in the entire game, you just run up, grab someone, and do a spinning pile driver to them. So I bring that up mostly because when you beat a boss, instead of doing what Mega Man does and you get a new weapon after defeating the bosses, instead you get new special moves for beating them. And they just
cool.
You get like 2 special moves per boss. So, and those are just things like you get a big laser beam, or you make a clone of yourself. You do a judgment cut that just hits everything on the screen at once, or even just something like healing yourself. But yeah, it's neat. It's a neat idea. But I don't know. I feel like you lose a little something by not also getting a weapon set for beating those bosses. It just feels like it's a cool idea they went with, but it still feels like because you don't get like a big reward for beating the bosses, you're losing out on it, especially if you like find a special move pool that you really like and don't go off. It's just like, okay, I'm like 2 or 3 bosses deep. I've got a move kit I'm really comfortable with, and I'm not going to engage with the rest of them for the rest of the game. And that feels a little weird to think about and engage with. Because I did get to a point like near the end of the game where I did unlock that heal ability, and I was just like, I don't really need a heal ability, so I'm not going to use it. Like, I'll buy it, but I'm not going to use it just now. And that means for beating that boss, I essentially got nothing of value.
Oh, I think it's just because you chose not to engage with it. That doesn't mean that you got. I guess it's nothing of your own value, I guess.
Yeah,
or was it because? Yeah,
it's also because you only get 4 special move slots, and that you start off with like 4 default ones you can get, and then you unlock an additional 8. So there's way more special moves than you have slots for.
Okay. I don't know.
And
all right.
On top of those, you also get like ability perks for saving civilians throughout levels. They're all hidden behind like secret rooms, or some of them are in the middle of the level and are very noticeable. I think they put enough noticeable ones in the levels to make sure that you get like some essential abilities. And one of these perks was just give you a double jump. I had that double jump on the moment I saw that you could unlock it. It never left.
Double jumps are always cool.
Yeah, it never left my toolkit. It was just too essential. Yeah, and they also had things like behind some special hidden rooms is just like upgrading your health or upgrading how many special moves you can do in a row. And I know those are definitely essential. Like if you're doing a minimalist run, I still think you should go out of your way to get those, because the final boss fight gets really rough, and I felt like I needed all of those to get through that final boss. And yeah, so just
what are there any cards in this game? But
are there any what
cards?
No, there are no cards. So I was just going through my notes, and I guess I'll just get onto bosses now, which is just like bosses were pretty fun. They weren't too hard. They have all the main bosses have 2 health bars, and they're just pretty standard when you get through their first health bar, and then when you get to their second one, that's when they start pulling out their big special moves and desperation moves and add a bit more of a challenge to the fight. But most of them, I still kind of just powered through them on my first try. There was just one boss that was really difficult for me to deal with, because it's one of those bosses where he'll shoot a laser while putting up reflecting mirrors to make like a pattern across the screen. And I always get tripped up by those. So I just keep running into the lasers every time it reflects. Like I'm like, oh, it's going to go this way, jump. Oh no, I got redirected into where I'm jumping now.
Yeah, a fucking scam.
Yeah, literal skill issue because of reaction speeds. But yeah, no, all of the main bosses were pretty fine. They were a lot of fun to do. And they also do a good twist on how the boss rush of this game works, because Mega Man games always have one level in the game where it's like, okay, here's a room with 8 portals. Go into the portal, beat the boss, and then come back out and do that for every boss. This just has
terrible.
Depends. Some games it's really easy to do, because since you have their weaknesses by then, you just plow through them.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And you know how to beat them as well. So yeah. You know how to beat them, you know their weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes more of how good can you avoid damage throughout the run. So what this does instead is that they have this boss fight that's just like a robot core, and you'll take down a health bar for it, and then it'll bring out a weakened version of of a boss in its desperation mode for 1 health bar, and honestly, they take like 3 hits to kill when they come out, and it'll just keep cycling through those every time you take down a health bar. So that was a neat way to do it as well. Not too sure if I'm a fan of it because it kind of drags out that boss fight. But on the plus side of that as well is that whenever you die, it just keeps your progress of how many of the robots you've already defeated. So because of how I was playing, I'd die every 2 circuits that get defeated, and then I'd go back into the boss room. It's just like, okay, take out the first bar, and those 2 are already gone, so it's just going to load in the next 2, and then I fuck up and I die, and then it's like, okay, 4 down, 4 to go, and so on. And then the final boss fight is also kind of neat in that it has 3 health bars, and each time you take down a health bar, it changes the fight a little bit to push like certain game mechanics to the point where one of them is essentially just like, okay, here's an entire health bar dedicated to, do you know how to grab the enemies and throw them at me? Like, my entire health bar is going to be based on, do you know this core mechanic we've been training you the entire game on? If not, you're not going to beat me. But yeah, overall, it's kind of like it's like a really fun game to play through. Like, it feels really solid to play, really smooth gameplay. A lot of fun to just kind of run through. It does a couple of twists to the Mega Man formula that I'm not 100% on board with, but I can see why they did them, and I'm glad that they tried them out just to see how they go. And yeah, I'd really like to see them do another game, but it seems like for now they're focused on doing updates to this game and adding more things. Like, since launch, they've added a new game plus mode and a circuit mode, which is basically a challenge run mode where you can sacrifice your health for special meter instead. And in some interviews they've talked about, so people seem to be interested in like playing as the other characters, like the other bosses throughout the levels. So maybe we'll add those if we get the time and budget to do so. So it seems like they'll be on this game for a little while, just kind of slowly making it better and better. I think it was in early access at some point, but it's officially launched now. But it's still kind of being treated like an early access game where it seems like they're still doing quality of life fixes and additional things throughout the game to just push it to be the best it can be. And I'm kind of glad for that.
Neat.
Yeah, essentially that's kind of what it came down to. Just a neat game. I think it was like $30 on Steam. And that seemed
to get on special?
No. And it wasn't 30. It's not 30 either. It's 25. So 25 for what is my Steam says 6.5 hours I've played it. So I think that's pretty fair. How much more do you have? Depends if I want to do challenge runs. Like, if I want to do achievements as well, I need to do like essentially Nuzlocke runs of the game as well, where you don't buy any of the upgrades, or you got to do like don't get hit runs. And yeah, I'm not too fussed about the achievements for this game because of those sort of things. Like this seems like
they're never fun. They're never fun.
Yeah, they're more like, maybe if I get really into the game, I'll do those. But this is just one of those things where I'll probably load it up every now and then, do a run of the game, like slowly get better, start running through it faster and faster. And yeah, it's just a really well done game. Like, I came out of it really enjoying it, and like as an out of 10 rating, I'm giving it like an 8.
Cool.
Damn, that's some high praise.
I don't think you've convinced me to play it. Look, as long as you had fun,
in saying that, you also just don't like 2D platformers, do you?
I do not like or even
play Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight, I'd say, is more like a Metroidvania.
True, but 2D platforming is kind of... I think Metroidvanias are almost all 2D platformers.
All Metroidvanias are 2D platformers, you're right.
That's what I'm trying to say, but not all 2D platformers are Metroidvania.
Yeah.
No, I fucked it up. You were right, Steve. I fucked that up.
Ooh, is that a very uncommon Patrick saying Stephen is right?
Hang on.
Most uncommonest
Hold
things.
on, you're giving him too much
Seth,
power
get the
here.
hitbox.
King hit right now.
Sorry, I'm right, so I'll know which way you're coming from, so I'll be able to dodge you.
Yeah,
I'll just
but
come from the
problem
left.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, well then I'll be left. You'll be
Left
left in the ground with a
behind.
ba-ba-ba-ba!
What is this? A Last of Us DLC?
I don't.
It's because I said left behind.
Oh, that's fine.
You were too caught up in what you were trying to say that you missed what I was saying very cleverly.
Ba-ba-ba-ba! I don't know. I'm just gonna keep saying that every time I don't like something you're saying.
But yeah,
Right.
Ba-ba-ba-ba!
yeah, like if you do like 2D platformers or Mega Man style games, I say really give this a look at because this was really cool.
Maybe I missed this. You might have gone through it at the start, but platforms it's available on?
I didn't actually. I think it's actually available on everything. I think it's just straight up on everything now.
Can I play it on my Samsung Smart Fridge?
Yes. Okay.
Shit, that is available on everything.
Hold on. I lie a little bit. It's available on
Only the
PC.
Smart Toaster.
It's available on PC, Nintendo Switch, PS4, and PS5.
You're missing one, man.
I'm
You're
not
missing-
missing it. They
Seth,
didn't
you're right.
release it
That
there.
is available on everything.
Boo. Oh man, Xbox chads, we're losing.
And it seems like they're going to have a booth at Gamescom, so maybe they'll like have some updates there. Maybe an Xbox version will be announced there.
I can't believe that Microsoft is going to buy that developer for $90,000 billion.
It sounds like a lot of money, but yes, that I reckon that actually. And it would still get fucking caught up in the fucking
The CMA.
Yes.
Shall we move on?
We shall.
I don't know. Shall we? You can't see me, but I just dabbed.
It's so much worse when
Patrick,
you
get the
describe it.
hitbox.
Get the dab box, you mean?
Seth, give me $400 and a couple days.
I mean, it took me like a month because AliExpress is slow as fuck.
All right, Seth, give me $500 and 2 months.
You know what? Maybe I will, Patrick. Maybe I will.
Well, rather than dealing in maybes, we, much like the Sith, will deal in absolutes and say that we are through part 1 for this week. Thank you to you both. As always, we get to move on to part 2 for this week, which is, of course, the news. We have an announcement trailer. Well, not really announcement. I guess it's sort of announcement trailer. Teaser trailer. That's the word. Teaser trailer for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the animated series. And gotta say, I'm kind of I like the art style. I like the art direction.
Yeah, no, it looks comic accurate, or trying to get as comic accurate as possible, and it looks really good.
Biblically accurate Scott Pilgrim.
Biblically accurate.
Scott Pilgrim is the reason why we have lost the Garden of Eden.
Look, I'm going to say it, fellas. I think Scott Pilgrim's overrated.
Oh, he said it.
Patrick, can there's still time to talk about not having Steven on the podcast, right?
Nothing is off the table. That's all I'll say.
All right, good. As long as it's still in the cards, because that felt like a crime. What he just said.
It's true.
So-
It's true. It's overrated.
You may think it's overrated, but is the art direction for the teaser trailer enough to make you interested, or is it still overrated enough that you're going to give it a pass?
It's generic. Generic enough that I'm going to give it a pass.
Wow. This man. The audacity.
First comes in saying Scott Pilgrim is overrated, then comes in saying that it looks generic. I can't anymore.
Yeah, what are you going to do about it?
I will simply change your audio file to be animal noises.
Please don't do that. That would be funny, but
I'm sorry, all I hear is a kookaburra. Anything else
Kookaburra,
that
do
you
you
want
have
to
those
add to
over
this, Seth?
No, just They announced this a little while back. I think we might have talked about it when it was announced, and I'm just glad to see that the teaser trailer is living up to what we were hoping for.
That's why I completely fucked up the title of it. That I know that we already announced it, which is why I felt stupid saying we have an announcement trailer, because it's not the announcement. They've already announced it, but the teaser trailer, which is available on YouTube. Do we have a date beyond November for when it's coming out?
It's dropping November 17.
Ah, okay. I did have 17 in mind, but I don't remember seeing that in the article. Anyway,
yeah, it's at the end of the trailer.
17. That would be where I saw it. Cool. I'm looking forward to it. Should be good.
Yeah. They also really nice is that they got the entire cast back from the movie to do the voice acting.
Yes, excellent point. Yes, they do. And also executive produced by Edgar Wright, which we might have said on the announcement, but
Edgar left.
I'm just really glad that Alan is back to voice Scott Pilgrim.
He escaped Barbie World.
He finally made it out.
That's big for him.
I haven't seen Barbie yet.
He's responsible for, if not the murder, the grievous bodily harm of like at least 7 Kens.
I don't think Alan could kill anyone if he tried. But he gets pretty close. Try,
and I think I think he got close, and it was only the last semblance of humanity, the little Michael Cera voice within him that said "Don't do it," that stopped him from going all the way. Anyway, next up, we have some Lollipop Chainsaw news. Seth, I think this is right up your alley. Why don't you hit us with it?
Yeah, it's keeping up with the trend of Lollipop Chainsaw remake news always being some sort of downer. They've announced that it's been delayed to summer 2024. Just wanting to get the best possible quality out of the game they can get. They dropped a couple of screenshots to kind of show like the art style they're going for. And it looks fine. I'm good enough to wait for this. Like Lollipop Chainsaw isn't the most must-need game, but it was a fun game on the PS3 and 360, so I'm glad to I'm glad to see that they're still trying to let it cook.
What's the old saying? A delayed game has a chance to be good, but a rushed game is never good.
I thought a Miyamoto quote was, I've seen pictures of Mario and Luigi kissing online, stop that.
What a funny thing to say.
Same energy, really. I think it might have just been a translation issue.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Who hasn't seen pictures of Mario and Luigi kissing?
I haven't, thankfully.
I'm more of a Mario X Wario fan myself. Can we move on?
You're the one that dug that hole further.
I was trying to think of some funny riff to jump off of that with. I got nothing, man. That's firmly a you problem.
Maybe the best segue is the one that is on the next topic.
Well, the next topic would be that we have some Nier Automata news. I think this is still Seth's alley, isn't it?
Essentially, yeah.
The
only reason this is here because I find this absolutely hilarious. So there's this mobile game called Goddess of Victory Nikki. I
think it's actually Nike, named after the shoe.
Why is there 2 Ks then?
I got a lot to think about. But essentially, if you've seen this game, you know what it is. If you haven't seen this game, it is just about butt jiggling. That's all you need to know. So Nier Automata crossing over with this, of course, it's funny because 2B is being put into the butt game. That's all that needs to be said about this this news.
The least horny Japanese game.
Yoko Taro will do anything for money.
Just quickly flicking through the comments, the second highest rated comment that I see on the screen in front of me, Nike is doing a hella good job with what they do.
They know what they're about.
I don't know the tone with which I'm supposed to read that comment, but a lot of people agree with it.
So
they know what they're doing.
Patrick, to give you the tone of where this is coming from, you know how booth babes are banned in American trade shows?
I like banned? I just thought nobody did them anymore because it's like a dog shit thing to do.
No, I think they were straight up banned.
I'm 100% with Steve on this. The fact that Saif goes, let me break it down for you. So you know about this thing which Saif kind of sounds like he's against, but is going to use it for an argument. Yeah, go on.
I don't think they're banned in Asian countries, and so to advertise Nikki at some conventions, they just have these booth babes cosplays as characters and standing on those exercise boards that just vibrate your entire body.
Oh, yeah, grim.
Every
Literally
day we stray further from God.
Yeah, literally 1984, but for banning them.
So yeah, they know what they're about.
Oh, I guess they know their product. Like, I don't know. What's the difference? Like,
A
Nier
wise old
Automata.
marketing exec once said it's not dumb if it works.
Yeah, like, what's the difference between Nier Automata having an achievement for looking up 2B's dress and
Or
this game
holding down the L3 and R3 buttons to self-destruct so her skirt gets blown up.
You both need help.
Well,
No,
yeah,
Yoko Taro is the one that did that, not me.
yeah, it's not me. I just needed the achievement.
Yeah, but you had a smile on your face when you did it, didn't you?
Steven, I don't know how to tell you this, but you don't have to do that for the achievement. You can just buy the achievement.
I didn't want to. I had to make sure the girl.
You heard it here first, folks. He didn't want to buy the achievement with the in-game currency. He instead just wanted to look at 2B's ass for the achievement.
Move on.
Man, we're like 2 for 2 on Steve forcing the segue. Interesting. Well, next news. Can't wait to see how this goes into Steve's skeleton closet. South Park Snow Day. Sorry, that was a weird way of introducing it. South Park is putting out another game. It's called South Park Snow Day. But you're thinking, wow, a follow-up to the critically acclaimed games Fractured Butthole and, I was about to say Crack in Time, Stick of Truth. No, very different game. This one is 3D, and I'm already skeptical because the art style, it being
Looks
3D,
cheap.
it being 3D, it's the best that it's better than I would have expected. I'll give it that. But it's like, was it? I don't think it was the Simpsons movie game. Maybe it was. But where like they take something 2D and they make it 3D, and it's just like, oh Jesus, put it back, let it cook for longer. I think it was the Simpsons game. I don't quite remember. It was definitely a game based on a movie.
There was a Family Guy game that had that sort of vibe, but also the South Park games on N64 had that vibe.
That Family Guy game. Holy shit. Freaking sweet. Let me know it's garbage.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Anyway, this one also looks to be going in a very different direction. This one is focusing more on a co-op side of it, which is interesting.
Yeah.
The way that they made it sound, I was expecting like a Magica-esque kind of clone, which I thought would have actually been a pretty interesting take for South Park, but no, I actually have no idea what sort of game they're going for based on the revealed trailer. And that makes me a little bit sad because
the reveal trailer makes me think it's going to be a battle royale game.
Yeah, it certainly. I'm not filled with confidence for it, and I say that having not actually finished Fractured Butthole, but enjoying the little bits that I played, because the whole shtick, and I'm not talking about the shtick of truth here, but the whole shtick of the 2D games was that it was effectively just a South Park episode that you were playing through. Like the art style matched so perfectly with the game that you were playing.
Yeah.
That for this, I'm already on the back foot for. I wasn't grabbed by anything that I saw in this, so that's a shame.
Well, don't forget, it is just like a reveal trailer, like to use, like literally.
But normally reveal trailers make you go ooh and ah. This made me go oh and no.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the art style looks cute. It looks like badly done 3D. But
it looks like they're very much going for trying to do the N64 South Park game, because that game also was just it was basically a first-person shooter where you threw snowballs at people. This is going more into the direction of like taking advantage of the South Park magic episods. I forget what they're essentially based off, but it's like the wizard Cartman.
Lord of the Rings, and they have to
Game of Thrones as well.
Yeah. And so yeah, they're going to combine those two concepts together to do a battle royale game. could be okay, but I don't have high hopes.
Well, yeah, and the second one was the superhero one as well. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy playing those games, both Fractured Butthole and The Stick of Truth. Both fantastic games. Like, it gets to the end of it and like, cool, I perfected the turn-based mechanics. That's it. GG, easy, shake my hand.
I haven't actually played Fractured Butthole yet.
It's good. It's I think the first one's better, but the second one is still pretty good. Like, it tries to build upon it, but because the first one already did everything perfectly, the new stuff they added in, it's like, you didn't really need to do this.
Yeah, the second one becomes more of a strategy game than it is a pure turn-based RPG.
I wouldn't even say it's a strategy. It's a turn-based RPG with strategy elements.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll get to that at some point. But yeah, this Snow Day game, not high confidence in it, but I thought it was worth pointing out. Honestly, I'll keep an eye on it just to see how it goes from here. If it ends up actually just being a battle royale game, though, I'm gonna check out.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Do you pronounce it battle royale or battle royal?
I think it's battle royal.
I believe it's actually a royale with cheese.
Very cool Pulp Fiction reference. Very cool.
Thank you. I'll be here all day. Send help. I can't leave. Speaking of not being... Actually, that segue doesn't work. Next up, we're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Last Ronin, announced for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. Now, this one also has an announcement trailer, which I got to admit also tells me nothing about what the game is.
This is just a cinematic trailer.
But, and hear me out. This is the thing that threw me the most. Seeing Nickelodeon as one of the, I'm about to say sponsor. Man, I've been way too much on the internet today. As one of the producers of this game, one of the credits. Immediately makes me think, finally, we have a Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 killer. Just because I see Nickelodeon on a game, and the only thing I can think of is All-Star Brawl. So it's really funny that Nickelodeon obviously is behind, well, partially credited with this, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin.
Yeah, it's because they own the IP.
Yeah, exactly. But it just makes me think that it's like, either the same company, different dev team, or even the same dev team, just behind this one as well. Which I don't think is the case, but it's just a funny, like that's how association works, right? But what did you two think of this?
I've read the Wikipedia synopsis of The Last Ronin, and it sounds fucking sick. So I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, I did the same thing when it was announced.
I did it a while ago because one of my friends said, it's the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic in ages. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Sure it is, big fella. Then I read it. I'm like, maybe I should get into the comics. Apparently it's very good. But yeah, I see it being a third person hack and slash type of stuff. Like a Ghost of Tsushima type of thing. Like Dark Souls. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dark Souls. Hang on. Let them cook. But yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, essentially, like I at first I put this on here because it's like, I really want to quickly talk about how it's I don't know what it is, but Ninja Turtles have just been crossing over with everything lately. Like they're all over the place. Well,
it's because they have the movie coming out this month. Yeah,
and it's been like this big push to bring them in like into everything now, but also like on top of that, doing a video game on their own. And this is an interesting one to do a story on, because most of the when you do a Ninja Turtles game, you got to try and balance between making 4 playable characters because people want to play as all 4 turtles. So instead they just go with the story that's like, no, 3 of the turtles are dead and only 1 of them is left alive, and we're going to adapt that comic storyline. And when it was announced, I saw a lot of people going, why are they adapting this one? This is way too dark for TMNT. Like, this is supposed to be a kid's franchise. Why are they doing something that looks grim, dark, and edgy?
Good. The future of the Earth is grim, dark, and edgy.
Yeah. I really like the way that this looks. I read the synopsis of what the story is. I really liked just a synopsis of what they were doing with that comic. I might go and read The Last Ronin myself at some point before the game comes out. But yeah, just an action-focused TMNT game sounds like a pretty good thing to do. Get excited about.
I love that you guys are going to go read the manga before you get to play the anime.
Maybe they should make an anime about it. Maybe you should make a live action about the anime.
No, keep Michael Bay away from it as well.
Ooh, hang on. Let him explode. He's busy with Transformers anyway.
Any final thoughts from either of you on this?
Keenly excited.
Yeah. We'll wait till it comes to Game Pass.
Cool. Well, speaking of grimdark and edgy, Sega has completed its acquisition of Rovio.
That's the Angry Birds people, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yay!
We talked about it a little bit when it was announced that this was happening. And yeah, they closed the deal now. They didn't have to wait for the CMA.
It was so funny. It was like, admittedly, it was a year ago now, but Activision getting bought by Microsoft, Destiny getting bought by Sony, and then Rovio getting bought by Sega. And it's just like one of these is not like the others.
One of the two of these are not $69 billion deals.
True. Anyway, yeah.
Do you reckon I have cool games? Like, is Angry Birds coming to Sonic Frontiers?
They've crossed over before. I talked about this last time, but in the mobile, like Sonic mobile games, they've had Angry Birds show up, and I think in one of the Angry Birds, they had some Sonic stuff show up. So they've been like friendly before.
Huh. Okay.
And speaking of friendly, this article, courtesy of Video Games Chronicle, specifically quotes and points out that the way that the acquisition happened was that it was considered a friendly takeover, as Sega stated that the Rovio board of directors had agreed to and expressed support the tender offer of just buying all of the shares and property outright. Which is funny because it's like if it were a hostile takeover, what would change?
They just have Sonic spin dash through the studio,
killing everyone in its path.
Everyone and all of the hard drives that contain lost Transformers games.
No one wants to play them. Simply emulate them.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah? Well, go play them. What stopped you?
They're not on PS5.
Yeah, so you get an Xbox.
They're not on Xbox either.
Yeah, then don't play them. What are they on? Your
Steve, you had
imagination?
every opportunity to say get an Xbox anyway, but even you, the biggest Microsoft shill I know, the moment that there isn't a reason for an Xbox, you're like, nah, don't bother. And this is a man who spent $400 on a Hitbox, and even he is beyond your petty shilling. Disgusting.
I believe that they're only physically available on PS3 and 360, which means they might as well be lost forever.
Oh, no, the Xbox has backwards compatibility.
No, they're not backwards compatible, is the thing.
I get the feeling this is a shit game. And everyone's like, no, I swear, bro, it's good. I swear. They're not good.
This is me. Actually, man, maybe... I'm now realizing that I don't think I mentioned that I spent an hour in the Need for Speed Unbound version 4 update, and it's just funny that every time there's an update or just any PR from Need for Speed, you get a bunch of smooth brains jumping on it going, just do a remake of Need for Speed Underground, just do that. All the NFS games are shit now. Just do a remake of Need for Speed Underground and a remake of Need for Speed. What's the other one? That Most Wanted. And then and that's it. And everything else is shit. And it's like if that game were to release today, it like that game as it stands now would be a boring ass game. Like it was fantastic for its time, but it's just really funny seeing just how rose tinted some people's glasses are.
Yeah, that's,
you know what? Maybe they should remake it just to see how it's received these days.
Yeah,
Well,
no more remakes. Make new games. Make new games.
Yeah,
They did, and they failed.
Yeah.
I genuinely am kind of in the camp of like intentionally don't make the game shitty, but just make the game to say that it's made, and just watch as everyone goes, no, you fucked up the remake because this, and this. It's like, no. This is it remade. All of the shit that's wrong with it is stuff that you just don't remember because you just were 20 years younger when you played it the first time.
It gets a dedicated Krabby Cat video. And then he hasn't changed the title of the video when he realizes perception online isn't the same as his.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, watching him walk back a video is such a surreal experience. Anyway, I guess for anyone wondering, if you liked Unbound, the version 4 update is like it's fine, it's good. It's not going to make someone who didn't want to play Unbound suddenly want to play Unbound, but it's content that some would argue, myself included, probably should have been included at launch, but glad it's getting updates.
Real quick also, because you skipped over this one, Patrick. So I don't know if you might have accidentally missed it when I added it into the docket earlier. Real quick.
Oh, I absolutely did.
Yeah, Tekken 6 and Soul Calibur Broken Destiny is getting added to the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 store. Why it's Tekken 6, I don't know. Most people that go to the PSP Tekken games go to Dark Resurrection. But from everything I've heard, 6 is still a perfectly fine game on PSP. And Broken Destiny, I actually did play. This was the Soul Calibur game that had Kratos in it, and that was perfectly fine as well. So these should be good additions to the PlayStation Classic catalog.
Cool. Yeah, I don't really have a take on it. I was more of a Dark Resurrection player. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah, definitely. Like Tekken 6, I just played that on PS3 because why would I play the PlayStation Portable version of that?
Why'd you play any of these games?
Because fighting games fun.
Yeah. What about other game?
Oh, actually, Saif, I went and watched that set that you mentioned last week.
Oh, right, yeah.
That was the semis, right?
I believe it was semis. It was losers semis.
Yeah. And that was Angry Bird and...
it was Takedo and Mena RD.
Oh, sorry, yeah. And then I ended up watching the final, which was Angry Bird and... it was
Mena RD and Angry Bird, yeah.
Yeah. Even the finals were hype. Like, both those sets were hype. Like, that...
Yeah.
For half of it was, man, I really want to play Tekken. The other half was, man, I'm so out of like being able to play Tekken at any level close to that, I might as well not even start.
Funny you get that feeling from watching a Street Fighter set.
I know it's Street Fighter, but just like fighting games in general. Because like if I was going to pick up a fighting game, it would have been Tekken. But, actually,
the reason I really like the Takedo match is because like it's a shorter set, and by the end of it, you can see how they've fundamentally changed their entire gameplay style from the first game, and just like adapting to each other. The Mena RD and Angry Bird set is really good because they're going back and forth, and it's really good matches, but also Mena RD's just constantly changing his character to try and throw Angry Bird off, and he's committed to his game plan, and it's working for him.
What was funny was I was also just thinking it was almost like a shower thought of just popped into my head of like, man, I haven't played Pokken DX in months.
I still need to get that as well myself.
Do you really? Like, it's literally a dead game. Like,
yeah, but it'd be fun to just pick up and play every now and then.
It honestly is. Well, like it's fun to pick up and play every now and then, but it's actually more fun when you just have a bunch of mates. Well, not even when you have a bunch of mates around, but like if you have a Switch and you take it to like some like gaming night or whatever, and then you just watch a couple people who just don't know what they're doing play it, because then it's effectively just like it's like a weirdly fun spectator sport, being someone that can probably beat most people in a room at it, or at least
has simplified inputs as well. So it has simplified inputs as well, which means that people can do the cool moves easier than they can in Tekken and Street Fighter, which means they get a
Absolutely.
little more excited seeing the cool things happen.
No. They get more excited finding the one cheese move, and then they just only use that.
Yeah. Pikachu Libre having the electric wind god fist from Tekken.
or Braixen's basically back into anything attack.
Yeah. Also, before I forget about it, just a quick tangent on fighting game tournaments. Angry Birds came first at that Evo that happened just recently. A week later, there was a invitational event that happened in Saudi Arabia where whoever won got $400,000. Angry Bird got second place in that, so like a week's difference, and he got second in an invitational, losing to someone that I think he put into the losers bracket at Evo. Like the player base is just constantly shifting, like who's the best player week by week. It's really interesting to see.
I ended up listening to I was going to say, should I just like coyly try and mention? No, it was the Yard. It was Ludwig's podcast, where they talked about watching Evo, and they were saying that they were trying to find clips of Angry Bird winning at Evo, and Angry Bird, because of his name, SEO's a bitch. You type in Angry Bird clips on YouTube, guess what you get?
Yeah.
you get news that Sega just bought it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to, I guess, more article-based news. Some Like a Dragon news. Steve, take this one away.
You know what? Yeah, right. I'm very excited. Anyway, so Like a Dragon Gaiden.
I knew you would be.
Can you say that again?
Like a Dragon Gaiden.
Very odd way to say that word, but sure, okay, I'll let it pass.
Isn't that how you say it?
No, it's Gaiden.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Like a Gaiden, the man who erased his...
sorry. Let me correct you one last time. It's like a it's like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name.
Look, it doesn't matter.
Like a gay dragon Gaiden.
colon.
Yeah, so the new...
Sorry. Like a gay dragon, the man who erased his colon. Did I get it?
So the new Yakuza game, the new Yakuza game, which has been rebranded to the Like a Dragon series. If you buy the man who erased his name, which is essentially a Kiryu side story, I'm assuming, you get a demo of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is Yakuza 9 in the
8.
8?
Yes.
Then
8.
what was? No, that was 7. Yes, no, you're correct.
Wow. Was that 9? No, it was 8. Was 8? Then what was 7? No, yes, you're correct.
Yeah, no, I don't know where I am. So that's pretty cool. I'm not really. It doesn't really know what it consists of. It's very interesting though. Like they've I'm calling it a demo, but the wording that they've used is that it's a special trial version, and it's available after you finish the game. So it's not really like a free demo. It's more of a, hey, you get like this. Realistically, it'll probably be like a prequel. That's from what everybody
because they say that there's special content and scenes that won't be in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which means this is it's probably just a prequel to lead into it.
Yeah, it's definitely giving me Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes vibes. I don't know. Is this going to move people to pre-order it? I don't really think so, because the Like a Dragon fans, they're buying that game regardless of whether it comes or not. I guess it might encourage people to buy the game sooner rather than later, just to get that additional content. But yeah, it's haven't seen something like this in a while. Like usually it's you pre-order a game, you get access to the beta, or you get 3 days early access or some bullshit. But now it seems like it's pretty cool. You get this special prequel. Keen.
Yeah. Just here you got the side game. Here's a chapter of the main game to enjoy. Very cool of them to do that. Yeah, I don't know when I'll get to it, but I I will get this game and play through it myself. And yeah, I'm excited to have that story taste of infinite wealth.
Still got to do Yakuza 6 and Yakuza 7.
I do. I also still need to do Yakuza 5 as well.
Yakuza 5's good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've heard Yakuza 5 is fantastic.
Yeah. Heard it on this show.
Heard
Fantastic
it on this
strong.
show
It's not
even.
fantastic.
Yes.
I don't recall saying. But yeah, that's your Japanese Grand Theft Auto update. When does it come out? Surely any day now. November the 9th. So it's about 2 months out of Starfield. So yeah, maybe I'll be finished with Starfield by then. Oh, Starfield soon, fellas. Just as an aside note, I didn't put it on the docket, but they've just started the preloading for Starfield as well.
130 gigs.
Thanks. You know what? You tell us. Sorry, Seth.
Yeah, Starfield preloading is up. It's 130 gigs on Xbox and like 150 gigs on PC.
But I heard that as long as you have the pre-order skateboard, that it's only 100 gigs.
No, they just give you access to the special speed to download it.
Skateboard speed.
Yeah, it's like going down a hill. I mean, 130 gigs. Like,
you have to do a mix twist to do it, though.
I don't know what that means.
It's a skateboard trick.
Oh, thanks. I figured that out.
It's almost like the McRib, but you have to be goofy footed.
Hang on, I don't know what goofy footed means, but the McRib, eh? Is that a Kingdom Hearts reference?
I don't know. You're the one making it.
Yeah, here we go. We've set Steph off.
No, I was saying you're the one making it. You get to decide if it's a Kingdom Hearts reference or not.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, Starfield comes out soon. 150 gigs for like the PC version, and apparently the data miners have been looking into it, and there's like no DLSS or whatever it's called. I have no idea what this means, but I just want to get a reaction out of you two.
I will not lie to you. I've known the letters DLSS together means something for graphic cards. I don't know what it actually does. I think it's something like you play at a lower resolution and it tricks your PC into outputting at 4K.
What do you mean trick my PC? Dumb computer. Oh no, I'm playing at a 4K. Fucking idiot.
Yeah, CPUs are just rightfully tricked into thinking.
You know how like the PS4 Pro had that checkerboard 4K thing where it's like it's outputting at 4K, but it's really like 1080p, but it looks 4K.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember this. Don't worry. You're not. I'm not going to let Steve gaslight you. I remember that. I was there.
Yeah, and this PS4 DLSS thing, is it in the room with us now?
No, not anymore.
Yeah, that's strange. But I don't know what that means. But okay, yeah, that's just the Starfield update. Soon, 2 more weeks.
Oh, I'm looking at it. DLSS is making your graphics card create AI frames. So a game that's running at like 22 FPS will suddenly look 85 FPS because DLSS is making it create frames in the middle of what's actually being rendered, and it looks shit.
Well, that's good then. If we don't want DLSS, well, you and I can't see more than 24 frames a second anyway. It's good enough for Oppenheimer. It's good enough for Starfield. Move us on,
cool.
Pat.
Well, speaking of things that are good enough, Skull and Bones is good enough that it's getting another closed beta test. Banger segue. Thank you very much. Who's excited? I know. I know that I'm not.
Wait a second. You're meant to be excited. This is our opportunity to keep laughing at people excited about this game.
Yeah, I was going to say, honestly, I'm not excited for the game. I'm excited for other people's disappointment for this.
Oh god, and the beta is soon.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the 22nd of August. Why are they not even doing it on a weekend?
That's a preload. The actual beta starts on August 25th.
Oh, I'm going to apply to it right now.
You're not going to play it.
You're
going to be moving around that time.
Yeah, I am. So.
Oh yeah, moving where? Give us the address.
Yeah, Auckland, New Zealand. It's the same as whatever's on your card, Pat. So say what it is.
Oh, number 11 Evergreen Terrace.
Oh, 123 Fake Street.
93 Spooner Street. New Hampshire, Rhode Island, or whatever the fuck.
Rats, it's only for PC. The closed beta is only for PC. My laptop's not happy even thinking about that.
Can you imagine if they pull a Tekken and they somehow manage to keep it going past the closed beta, and then Ubisoft jumps in? They're just like, thank God someone's playing it.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone will care enough to try and do it like they did Tekken.
That's my point. Can you just imagine they specifically make it leaky to like really make it really easy to just continue past the expiration, and they're just trying to secretly identify the superfans.
Oh no, we didn't put de novo on this. It's so easy to crack.
And they look at the downloads of the crack, and they're like, shit, no one's downloading even the cracked one. We're fucked. More people are playing Black Flag. We're screwed.
Ugh.
God, imagine if Black Flag sales do spike when this beta happens.
Oh no! At that point, because there's already rumors that Ubisoft is looking for buyers, that would tank the share price, I reckon.
Might be the final nail in the coffin of this game. Is it coming out? Who knows?
By the way,
I was going to say we can't even say it's the final nail in the coffin when the game releases. It's just the final nail in the coffin.
I was going to say, Steven said earlier that a delayed game is potentially eventually good. How do we feel about Skull and Bones, which has been delayed like 5 times now?
Skull and Bones is a literal Skull and Bones.
It must be 5 times as good then. That's how it works, right?
Gambler's fallacy. If you keep delaying it, eventually it'll have to be good.
It's going to drop the Mario and Luigi pictures.
Smoke bomb. Yeah, I don't really care, but I laugh at the people that do. Are you actually going to try and sign up for it, Steven?
It's only for PC. My shitty 4-year-old laptop, 6 years, I think is actually how old it is now. Will catch fire even thinking about it. So I'm not going to.
Fair enough.
Rats.
Thoughts?
It says it's going to take up 65 gigabytes of storage. I would much rather re-download the Final Fantasy 16 soundtrack multiple times than put Skull and Bones on my SSD.
And so I've got 2 sport ball updates. In bad news, the Matildas lost against Sweden 2-0. Unlucky.
What's the good news?
The good news is Panthers beat the Titans 40-12.
Oh, okay.
At least they played
news
defense
so
so
much.
As long as they had fun, right?
The Titans didn't. Panthers always have fun because they always win. There's a direct correlation between winning and fun.
And being a Panther.
Yep. 3 in a row, baby. Yeah.
No, I meant like an actual Panther.
Yeah. I'd believe Panthers. Arr, arr. I don't know. Is that what Panthers down?
I don't like that. And
is Bagheera
Patrick,
a Panther,
you know what else I
Puma?
don't like? I don't like Ubisoft moving games up.
Motherfucker stole my segue. Yeah, this one I find this one makes me nervous. Have they ever done this?
I don't know. There's not
This
many
seems
games that move.
unprecedented.
Yeah, there's not many games that are confident enough to move the release dates up. There was something that moved the release date up recently though, and I forget what it was.
The thing that I don't get while you try and think about that, they've moved it up by a week. Like, what changes? Like, okay, it's gone gold. Fine. I am so certain that there could have been any more polish for a week. Like a week. Honestly, how little I've heard about Assassin's Creed Mirage, the only news I know is that the release date's moved up. And so in that sense, it's actually been, I guess, good publicity. But it's crazy to me that usually it's not like a month, right? Like a month is like a meaningful difference in time. A week, you could just polish the game for an extra week, keep to the original release date, and then just bask in how well it's doing. So my question is, what's releasing on October 12th that they're scared of?
Isn't Spider-Man around that time, actually?
Is it?
Is it?
Let me check. 20th of October. So they probably wanted a little bit extra time away from that game.
Because like that has to be the only reason, right? Like, why else would you pull up a release date by only a week?
Yeah, October is a stacked month as well because they also have a new 2D Mario game coming out that month.
Oh yeah, Wonder.
Yeah. And then just specifically for me, there's also a new 2D Sonic game coming out.
I don't care
Oh,
about
the one
that.
with Angry Birds in it?
You know what? There might still be enough time to put an Angry Bird skin in there. They have a Logo Sonic skin in there.
Well,
Also,
anyway.
also for good publicity for Assassin's Creed Mirage, they also just recently announced that this is going to be a budget game. And it's going to be $50 instead of 70.
Isn't that because Mirage was wasn't that one of the like mobile focused ones? Maybe I'm
No,
thinking of Jade.
it was announced around the same time as the mobile focused one, so. But this is like this isn't a Witcher clone. This is like a regular Assassin's Creed game. So we're not going to make you pay for it like it's a massive AAA Witcher clone. That's gonna just take 120 hours to complete, and you'll check out by hour 20.
I need to draw special attention. So this is a Gematsu article talking about it. Key features: a powerful coming-of-age story. Discover a narrative-driven action-adventure experience that follows the transformation of a defiant young man into a refined master assassin with a conflicted destiny. Meet an inspiring cast of characters who will shape main character name, destiny, and maybe more than what they seem. Bro, that is literally every Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Most notably, going from like defiant young man to refined master assassin. That's Ezio.
I was just thinking that. It's like take. So the main character for this one is Basim. I think.
Yeah, Basim.
Take out Basim's name and then read me that key features paragraph. I would tell you that sounds like the story of Assassin's Creed 2.
The game's so nice they've tried to do it multiple times now.
You had the rhyme on nice and twice, but you're right, it has been multiple times.
Yeah, I know. I realized it was more than twice, so I couldn't do the rhyme. Because they copied it with Brotherhood, then Revelations, then they literally just made Assassin's Creed 2, but in France with Unity.
All right, hang on. Next key feature: the ultimate assassin. Become the most versatile assassin in franchise history. Parkour seamlessly through the city and leverage the largest assortment of tools to date. Get contracts at the assassin bureaus, collect vital clues, and stealthily take down targets with more visceral assassinations than ever before. Am I talking about the game coming out in a month, or am I talking about every Assassin's Creed?
You're at least not talking about Origin, Odyssey, and Valhalla, because those don't have stealth takedowns.
I really wanted you to say those don't have cities.
They could probably lie and say that they do have stealth takedowns because if you attack someone when they don't see you, it's like a sneak attack bonus.
True.
And that can be a one shot if you're desperate. But we pre-ordering this, fellas?
No.
But we get it a week earlier.
Yeah, no. I am interested in this one because this is the Assassin's Creed style I like, and I should be rewarding them for making this type of game. But there's other things in October now that have my attention much more than this.
Sorry, last one. A tribute to an original. Experience a modern take on the features and gameplay that have defined a franchise. Journey to Main City, the legendary home of the assassins who laid the foundations of the Creed in this heartfelt homage to the game that started it all.
Yeah.
I don't know,
they've really been driving home that this is a homage to Assassin's Creed 1 the entire time they've shown it off.
But it still sounds like, was it Syndicate? What was the one where, like, part of it you were jumping back to Altair?
Revelations.
Revelations, thank you. Yes.
The fourth game in the franchise.
Exactly. That's my point. Oh.
But you know how many games it's been since then?
No, I don't, and I'm scared to ask.
I don't know the exact number, but I think it's probably around like 18.
Oh, including all the side ones, yeah, true. But
hold up. I'm going to look this up, and we're going to play higher or lower.
All right. I was about to look it up myself, but I'll let you do it so I don't cheat.
Okay. Well, Wikipedia's giving me the number of main games. Where is all up? Story arcs, release history. Oh man, that's a lot.
Well, there's only like a handful of side ones.
So we got 3. Yep, so that many mains, and then whoa, that many spin-offs. Oh man.
Jesus.
Okay.
Okay.
I will say there was probably a number in my head. It's higher. It's so much higher. Who wants to open the bidding?
I'll start it at 16.
16 total, or like quantify
So
it?
are you including like DLCs?
So I have from Wikipedia. I have a list of main games and I have a list of spin-offs.
So hold on, are we counting total, or are we just counting how many have been since Revelations to now?
So not going since Revelations.
Okay, so just total.
Yeah, well, let's just go total. Because as you say, this is homage to Assassin's Creed 1. How many games do you think they fit between 1 and now? So
do you want to change your number, Stephen?
Shall we include spin-offs, or is this just main games?
Let's include both, because the spin-offs count.
All.
Yeah,
okay.
It's funnier that way.
I want to do like 16 or something. I still want to do like maybe 16.
I'm going to say 28.
Shit, nah, too right. Break it to us.
We're going higher. We were playing Price is Right rules?
Yeah, Price is Right rules.
27.
Oh, I was off by 1.
27 games. Oh, I suppose they've done like 30 mobile games or something.
Including Mirage, it would be 28.
Oh,
we
man.
We don't include Mirage.
Yeah.
Eat shit, Seth. I won.
When you pull out 28, I'm like, my man's just gone and looked up the list.
I haven't. But I know for a while there, I know it wasn't exactly 2 every year, because there's been a couple of years where it was off, but I do know that it was essentially 2 every year.
2 a year, and it's been 15 years.
Yeah, but it wasn't that exact, so it was a little under.
Yeah, pretty good ballpark. But yeah, 27. What the fuck?
Yeah, because don't forget, like, they even did things like after in between Assassin's Creed 1 and 2, they did that Assassin's Creed 1 PSP game. That was a sequel to Assassin's Creed 1.
Assassin's Creed Bloodlines?
Yeah, that one. That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then like when Assassin's Creed 3 came out, they also had that Vita game.
Scanning. Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation.
Yes, Liberation. That's
you know
the
what
one.
Sucks?
That
the fact
one
I have to scan through the list to pull out these titles. There's so many.
Yeah, and there was also that game when like Black Flag came out for like next gen consoles.
Freedom Cry.
Freedom Cry is a PSP one, I think, and Liberation is the 360 PS3 one.
Freedom Cry was available on Windows 360, One, PS3, PS4, Nintendo Switch.
I believe Freedom Cry was the Assassin's Creed 4 DLC that was a standalone thing eventually.
Oh, interesting.
It was where you played as Edward's crewmates, like his first hand.
Yeah, the like, I'm not sure if African American is the right term, because it was like it was in the Caribbean. Yeah, very cool.
They pumped out so many Assassin's Creed games, and they wonder why there was franchise fatigue.
It wasn't even franchise fatigue. It was the fact that like every game was the fucking same after Assassin's Creed 4, like Syndicate, and whatever that.
Oh yeah. What else? What else, Steve? Name them if they're all the same.
Assassin's Creed.
Okay,
damn,
you win.
Should have made it harder.
Yeah. What's the that meme line? That's on me. I should have. Shit. What is the line?
That was essentially it. That's on me. I should have made it harder.
Yeah. Okay, that.
Yeah. But yeah,
anyway,
I'm sort of excited to see how it goes. Like, I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But it was like I enjoyed it in the sense of, like I'm done. There's a lot to do.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, but it just took it in a very different direction. It made it fresh and new, and it's what it needed. But apparently,
this is a return to the roots.
But is that what is like? Are we just going to get into like a 15-year cycle of Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, we're calling it Assassin's Creed.
Like, in what they're going to start. Oh, this is actually Assassin's Creed 1, and then it's like 15 years of all this bullshit. Then it's like,
Can-
oh no,
can
this is
you
actually one of
imagine-
the.
Imagine that we pay so much of a homage to Assassin's Creed 1, you can no longer swim.
Surely.
There's
Would you
no
need
way
to?
they could do that again. Like they made such a big deal in Assassin's Creed 2 where they're like, we added swimming.
Well, you need to. It was in Venice. There's nothing but water.
And in Assassin's Creed 3, they're like, you know what? Swimming's not enough. We added a boat.
This is Assassin's Creed 4.
What do you mean that was
No,
still
Assassin's Creed 3
2?
had ship gameplay, and in Assassin's Creed 4 expanded on the ship gameplay.
Did it? I can't even remember. Oh yeah, no, Assassin's Creed 3 had them as like story. It was like story missions when you're on the boat, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then they had like side missions that were like, yeah, here's just a bunch of boat missions.
Anyway, I feel like this almost needs its own timestamp for how long we've spent talking about Assassin's Creed. But anyway, Mirage has been moved up to October 5th. If you are one of the people that enjoyed the last 27 titles, then
28,
boy, you're
including
in for a
Mirage.
treat. Exactly, the 28th one gonna be a banger.
There's
Damn,
one
I
more
can't
game.
believe I was off by one, and it's the one that's coming out.
Yeah. Next up, we have more news on the Scarlet Violet DLC, including the fact that starters are coming back. Now, I want to front foot this. One of my biggest complaints about the Pokemon series has been they've always lured starter Pokemon as these Pokemon are common in lands far away. They finally listened to me, and they've finally made starters just wild Pokemon, which, on one hand, very grateful for. On the other hand, who knew that Spain was where every region gets their starter Pokemon from?
Not just Spain, but like an underwater research facility in Spain.
It's very exciting though.
Wait, hang on. Wait. Does this count? Wait, does this mean starter Pokemon are gent?
No, you find them wild.
hold on, one more article.
Yeah, that argument doesn't even make sense. You just generated that one out of nothing.
Remember in Pokemon Red and Blue where you fought random trainers and they had starter Pokemon?
Yeah,
Vaguely.
yeah, I do.
That was fun.
Really,
should do that again.
really helps the immersion.
In Pokemon Yellow, they had they were just giving you starter Pokemon, so you got all three of them. That was pretty cool.
Meanwhile, you go to England and they only have one starter Pokemon from another region, and the other two are just don't exist.
Yeah, it's fine. Play on so cool. But so to take a step back and actually what we're talking about, they released a new trailer explaining a bit more of the hidden treasure of Area Zero. And the big feature of this, it spends a significant amount of time showing starter Pokemon in the wild.
My boy Totodile is finally free. I don't think it's been usable since Sun and Moon.
Probably a reason for that.
Spanish Totodile.
Yeah, Le Crocodile. It's not.
You know what? I'm going to name my next Totodile that.
It's El Totodile. What's wrong with you?
That sounds like a terrible wrestler. But yeah, so and they sort of also,
the 90s gimmicks were really far out, man.
Yeah,
90s heel wrestlers, better forgotten.
Anyway, but they announced 2 new moves. Seem to be okay. They've officially given names to.
They announced more than 2, wasn't it? There's Psychic Noise, which seems like a priority. No, sorry, not priority. Prevents healing psychic attack, which is kind of cool.
It was 2 new moves,
Upperhand,
and then
sorry.
there's 2 new moves that are just general, and then like 2 moves for the legendaries.
The specific new Paradox Pokemon. So they've got, as we said last week, there's Raging Bolt, which is Giraffe Raikou,
Yeah.
and then there's Iron Crown, which is
Metallic
robotic.
Cobalion.
Yeah, or robotic. Oh, it's Iron Cobalion. It would have been so cool if they called it like Iron Justice or something. But anyway, whatever. Maybe next time.
They already have an Iron. Hang on, we've been through this. They don't, but I thought it was called Iron Justice. What's Gallade?
Iron Valiant. The same thing.
Yeah,
same names. But yeah, so all it did is just make the hype train go a lot more. And I will admit, I did cave and buy the DLC today. But my dear listeners, Number one, remember how Nintendo Switch Online has that fucking those weird gold points you get for actually buying stuff, and then you can use it to get cheaper things later.
That's
So
true.
I had $13 of that, so I used that to reduce the price down. And
So you only
because
paid $200?
no, instead of $52, it was like $39 or whatever it was. Fucking $52 for fucking DLC. What a fucking it's the cost of the game. What a scam. But because when I left my job, they gave me a gift voucher with a couple of bucks on it. I used that to pay for the rest of it. So I didn't pay for this DLC. That's the cope that I'm going for.
You used your work-related gift card to buy Pokemon stuff.
No, it wasn't work related. It was.
They gave
goodbye
you
and
that
good
money
luck.
to spend on office supplies, you cretin.
No, they didn't, because my manager handed it to me, and she specifically said, "I know you like video games, but I don't know which one you'd like, so we got you a gift voucher." That's what she said. Oh, you got me Bone Storm. Oh, Lee Harvey's putting challenge. It could have been. It was very close to being that kind of moment.
They get you the PAL version of the DLC.
They gave me the Scarlet version, and I've got Violet. No, it doesn't work. I have to buy the other game now. No.
They get you Balan's Wonderworld, but it's not just Balan's Wonderworld, it's Balan's Wonderworld on PS5.
No, they give me Babylon's 4.
I don't think they're legally allowed to sell that anymore.
I was gonna say, I reckon if I'm Square Enix and someone goes out in the year of our Lord 2023 and buys Balan Wonderworld, I would throw in Babylon's Fall for free.
There's no single player. Anyway.
Imagine them looking at their like units sold and Babylon's Fall just ticks over 1. Like, hang on, wait a minute. Maybe the servers do need to come back.
Turns out it's just it's like someone turns out it's just a bot, but it's a bot for the wrong game.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway. So yeah, a couple of new moves announced. What else, Steve? What else gets your motor running for the DLC?
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Well,
I didn't pay for the DLC, but a couple starters and some new and signature moves, and
everything else we talked about last week when they showed off more stuff. Like they tease that terrestrialization thing again, which is like a rainbow terrestrialization. But I think they announced that at Worlds last week when we talked about it. And it's just like, yeah, no, we still don't know what it is. They just showed us the icon.
Yeah, and there's been like some press releases that it's a combined teratype, or it's all 18 teratypes.
Which really fucks.
They don't know how. It doesn't explain how it works.
Every
is it
move
an
is super
attack that
effective.
does that, or? And what if you're up against a normal type? Oh, it technically doesn't affect because it's a ghost type. Like we don't know how it works, and
that would be so funny, actually.
And they've sort of hinted that the DLC 2, which is the
Indigo Disc something, isn't it?
Yeah, the Indigo Disc, one of the turtle. The turtle has like 2 forms. It's got its normal form, and it's got like a terrestrialized form. They sort of hinted at that, but they haven't really told us anything about how that works.
And the way it was shown, we thought it might have just been an evolution because it's got all of the typings, like icons on its shell.
Yeah, and it looks a bit different to like its first form seems to be a lot smaller and compact, and its bigger form seems to be more bigger. Like a
I
big
can't
turtle.
believe that Spain harvests that turtle for Terra crystals.
Yeah, it's pretty much
Someone
what it is.
get Peter on the line.
Yeah. So yeah,
we're gonna find out that like they're mining Terra crystals, and then it turns out, oh no, all the Terra crystals are like eggs to form this turtle.
Yeah, I'm still interested in how the mechanics go, but yeah, the first DLC comes out in like, I think it's the same week as Starfield. Holy shit!
Yeah, cope.
What do you mean cope? I think I'm actually got a wedding that week, so I'm not even going to be near the Xbox.
Cope with having no time to play both of them.
The
wedding is between Steve and his Xbox.
Bringing the Switch to a wedding, friends. That you're a groomsman in, yay or nay?
Yay. Like,
okay, they're getting married. They're getting married at the church. Music on, yay or nay?
Yay. Yeah,
making
you're not
noises.
I don't think you're going to find many situations where I'd say you shouldn't just have Pokemon blasting at full volume in a public place. You specifically. I
mean,
wouldn't do
got,
it.
You've got to go to the reception and you got to like run in with the bridesmaids, and I'm just walking with my Switch, looking down and I trip over, ruin their wedding. Very funny.
And you're rocking the sweet new pastel Joy-Cons.
Limited edition Switch.
Um,
Yeah, the Switch.
Actually, no. Speaking of, I heard it on the Giant Bombs cast, and they were thinking, oh yeah, it'd be funny if they called it the Super Switch, the Super Nintendo Switch, like it's like the Super Nintendo. I thought that was pretty clever.
I still think the Switch would be a better name.
You suck. Go to the next article.
No, I don't want to.
Good, don't.
Fine, then I'm just going to gen this new article.
Hey, wow, there we go. Yeah, as I've hinted at, I think 3 times over this episode, maybe.
You've been itching for this one.
It's not really itching for it. It's just funny. That several Pokemon players have been disqualified from the Pokemon World Championships for using hacked Pokemon. Not hacked as in like illegal, like you've taught. What's the fun one? You've taught Final Gambit to Blissey. But just illegal in that the Pokemon have been generated. So they are all technically legal in that they can exist. They are just illegal in the sense that they were synthetically created rather than obtained. I want to say naturally, but because it's a video game, even that's kind of like a weird phrase.
Yeah, they've been modified into the game.
You didn't catch the Pokemon and train it from scratch.
Or breed it.
You just put the code in to make it appear in your inventory.
Yeah, and it's just become a very big point of contention.
Yeah, Steve, you have some thoughts on this.
I do.
Are they enough thoughts that I should timestamp this?
No, I'll just sort of explain the issue is that it takes a lot.
I'm timestamping.
Yeah, okay, cool, thank you. It takes a lot of time to train Pokemon and breed them to get the right IVs and EVs in what your team does, and if you try out a team and it doesn't work, then you have to go back to the drawing board and start again. And while it has gotten easier with like the introduction of mints and bottle cap training and
super training, bottle caps.
Yeah, and
there's certain things that bottle caps don't cover, like trying to get 0-speed IVs.
Yeah, trying to get a 0-speed IV is still hard, but that'll come in the DLC, I reckon. That's the Steven take. And the way that the VGC's moving to having 0-speed IV is not as favorable to what it is. Yeah, so there's always been this argument that it's like, well, if you're generating Pokemon, it's like, it's not real. Like Pokemon does, like the Pokemon company does have some checks on their end to be like, all right, well, a Pokemon should exist within these parameters. And if they exist within these parameters, like they're legal. So if you gen it within the parameters, it's fine. Like it's not unfair. It's just you're sort of skipping the line to go to the front because the barrier for entry is quite hard. Not hard. It's just a long process. And to get a whole team ready, it can take a couple of hours. Previously, in previous years, it was taking, instead of hours, it would be days because you have to get things to level 100 and then you could hyper train them, or if the breeding took a lot longer. So the genning argument sort of in the Sun and Moon era, for instance, kind of carried a bit more water than what it does now. And personally, I'm a big fan of just getting my Pokemon and training them because I feel more of a connection to them. But then at the same time, I'm not really a high-level player, and high-level players have to chop and change their teams all the time. They're always changing to get new things, new experiences, and just different ways of playing playing the competitive. And I think that's
there's a reason why Showdown is so popular. It's just because you do get to just gen teams and see what works and doesn't work very quickly
before you take it over to your official copy of the game. Yeah, and so what happened was, the recent Pokemon World Championships was held in Yokohama, Japan last week. And Pokemon's always held the line of like, oh, if you use Gen Pokemon and we catch you, get fucked, you're out. and a couple of people.
They're even kind of lax on it. Like, I've watched a couple of videos and it's just like, yeah, no, you could get disqualified if you get within these certain parameters. And it's just kind of like, okay, you've registered 6 Pokemon. 3 of them are gens, so they're out. You do not have enough Pokemon to make a team. That means you're disqualified. But if 2 of your Pokemon were gens, then those are out. You've still got enough to make a full team for duos.
Yeah.
So you're still fine. You just can't use those 2 that we caught that were gens.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of weird because they haven't really been lax on it, but they've been like sort of, okay, these Pokemon are safe. So then the PK Hex, which is the generator, it's sort of been like they're aware of its existence. The Pokemon that enter the VGC, they're all legal. They all do the checks to make sure like you can't have a Zoroark, a Fluttermane that knows like Aura Sphere, for example. I'm not sure if it can learn Aura Sphere. It probably can't. Like you can't have that, just to make sure it's still fair. But for some reason, depending on on which Twitter article you're looking at, it seems that around about the top 16 or the top 32s, they started like they implemented a new check. And essentially what it was they were checking Pokemon home identification numbers, because a bunch of the Regulation D, which is like the format that Worlds is being run in, included a bunch of Pokemon that were from Sword and Shield or from Legends Arceus, which you can only get into Scarlet and Violet through going through home. So let's say I have an Urshifu, which I can only get in Sword or Shield. To get that into Scarlet and Violet, it has to go through home. But if I was generating it or genning it and sent it straight to my game, it doesn't get a home identification number, and that's how they were picking it up.
There was also another one where it was based on where the Pokemon was met. Like you'd have a Pokemon that was like, oh, so this is supposed to be from X and Y. From Sword and Shield. So it should be from like the wild area of Sword and Shield. But when we checked it, it says it's from like this area of Scarlet and Violet, which means that you've gendered, so that's out.
Oh, I didn't hear about that one. Oh, shit. So they're doing these harsher checks. And it did knock out a couple of people.
Knocked out a lot of high-ranking people.
Well, because they only started doing it at like the top 32s. So it was a bunch of people that were probably, that were in the running to probably get it. They went pretty far. There's probably maybe they were implementing it on day one and people hadn't really did because they didn't have the Twitter following. They tweeted about it, nothing really happened. But now that these people with like big communities are being essentially tossed out, it's kind of it's one of those things like it's against the rules to do it, but it's like the rules aren't hurting anybody. Also, breaking this rule isn't hurting anybody, and it is literally like in all the shit posting groups I'm in, all the different Pokemon communities I'm in for the VGC. It pretty much is they're the rules. It's Pokemon's game. They don't want it, but genning sort of saves a lot of time and reduces the barrier to entry.
Does it though? Because essentially genning is like a hack tool that I assume like an older player will find out how to do it, but like younger players might not have access to those tools, or like even someone trying to get into the VGC for the first time might not be aware of it, and it's just like, oh well, you don't have this, so you have to spend all your time actually training it up rather than having what's essentially an open secret in the VGC side of things. But if you're not into the community and just trying to come into it for the first time, you might not be aware of this, and that does put you at a back foot compared to other people.
Well, yeah, there's that, and the other argument as well is that with the introduction of home, there's the only way to get some of these Pokemon over is to purchase.
To pay for home. Yeah,
well, pay for home and pay for Sword and Shield, or Sword or Shield, and pay for Legends Arceus. And then get those games
DLC
in.
for Sword and Shield as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you're looking at $60 per game plus, let's say the DLC is $40. That's $160 right there. Plus the extra $20 a year, whatever home is. It's $180 just to literally be competitive. and that's sort of one argument. I sort of disagree with that one because, well, look at trading card games, look at look at fighting games, how they have like special
if you want to be competitive
kind of
in something like this, you are putting the money down anyway.
Yeah,
like,
it's like
let's not mince words either. If you've been competitive in these games or you want to be competitive, you've already bought those games.
Exactly, yeah, and that's sort of what it comes down to. And it's like, oh, you need to play this game to be good at this game. It's like, well, don't forget though, you should be playing that game because you want to play it. Like if you want to. And there are sort of like ways around it. Like you could trade with someone, but then if you're trading with someone, you're not sure if they've gendered or what have you.
And that's another argument I wanted to bring up. I saw a lot of people like twisting the words of the statement Pokemon Company put out, where they were like, "Hey, we don't advise using traded Pokemon because we
don't
know where they've come from."
Yeah, we don't know where they've been. Like we've found people that are like playing with Pax Pokemon, and they're saying, oh yeah, well I got it through a trade, so like just be careful who you're trading with, sort of thing. And then everyone online is just like, oh, Pokemon Company is saying you shouldn't trade Pokemon, even though that's like the whole thing of the Pokemon games where you're meant to trade. It's like, your Pokemon Company said they like pancakes, and you're saying, oh, they hate waffles then.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like a lot of the people that got disqualified were using the excuse, oh, I traded with a reputable trader or whatever bullshit excuse. And it's like, come on, you only traded with them because they know they could gen it for you. Because there's like some people were saying, oh no, if you gen it and put it into your game, they'll know. But if you gen it into someone else's game, they trade it to you, it's all Gucci.
Which is cope.
Yeah, it's cope. Like it's essentially they broke the rules, they got found out, they got disqualified. Like there is an argument that like genning saves a shit ton of time and it reduces the barrier to entry. But then, like, it's never been easy to get into competitive, and it's like anything. It's like if you want to get good at any sport, you've got to train, you've got to put in the work. And does putting in the work to train your Pokemon, does it really matter? Especially when things like Showdown exist, when all you can do is just essentially it's a simulator that exists, and maybe the Pokemon Company could do something a bit more in that kind of space, like.
But then essentially, like, so my side of, sorry, I cut you off, but like my side of this is like, they could do that, but essentially where do you draw the line between the game of Pokemon and like training up Pokemon and then just doing battle simulator? Like, here's a Pokemon, go put stats in, do it for battles, that's it. Like, where do you draw the line between how much of a gameplay, how much gameplay is involved in this, and Pokemon's inching closer and closer, just gamifying as much as they can to make the stats is easy to get into. Like you said, with all the mints and proteins and everything to like manipulate the IVs and EVs and natures and everything. So they're getting closer and closer. Like from something I saw, like if you've got the, it takes like maybe 40 minutes to an hour to grind up a Pokemon to a competitive level, but is that still too long for certain people? Like, does it need to be even shorter? But then, does the Pokemon Company want to be able to, like, do they want to allow people to just go, okay, I want this Pokemon here with these specific stats and these specific moves, and then that's it? It's like there's a line that gets crossed that Pokemon Company doesn't want to cross, and I can see why they don't want to do that.
Yeah, and that's essentially like the easier they get it to enter competitive, the closer they get it to like, let's just do a fucking simulator. Let's just put Pokemon Showdown on the screen. And as much as I sort of hate to defend the multi-billion-dollar company, like Pokemon wants you playing their game. They're always going to be like, well, if you want to be competitive, you've got to buy our other two games. But I kind of think I'm kind of more in the camp of just train your Pokemon. It's never been easy. I can understand why you wouldn't, because it's such a time investment. But essentially, the Pokemon doesn't like it, genning the Pokemon. And like you'll see like in this high level play, they'll have like a team of like 6 shiny Pokemon. And it's like, yeah, cool. I'm sure all of those are legit. But like it doesn't really change anything. Like they're not cheating. They're just skipping the barrier for entry. So
yeah, they're saving their own time by genning, which I understand. I know people value their time that much. As you say very, very frequently, time is your most valuable resource. But also, yeah, at the same time, if it's specifically against the rules and you get DQ'd for breaking those rules, you don't have any ground to stand on.
Yeah, exactly, and that's all it comes down to. And there might be sort of an argument of gen your Pokemon to find the team that works, and then put the time in to train the team that way.
And essentially, that's what Showdown has become. I feel
that is what Showdown is. Well, it hasn't. So I've recently found out that Showdown is primarily used by like the North American and European audience, while Pokemon, like the Battle Stadium, that is the Japanese audience. And there's two different ways of building teams. Like the Japanese way of building teams is very different to the American way of building teams. So you sort of do need practice in both to sort of see what's going on. But yeah, it's all happening. Very big drama over what's essentially a bunch of ones and zeros on a screen. I highly encourage anybody, if you're interested in the Pokemon competitive scene, to like look at the final match for Worlds. It was pretty good. Just like layers within layers within layers, and because I've been following it like pretty well this entire year, so I've like don't have like my favorite players, but I've got players like, oh yeah, I know that guy, I know that person, and I was very excited to see how it all played out, especially with like the introduction of Regulation D, because no one's really had a chance to practice it. It's our first tournament that's been like that. And there was a lot of people that like did one thing and it didn't really work and was punished by other teams. That was more of an accident. But no, it was very interesting. And it's not skill-based, it's all mind games.
Yeah, there's one last thing I want to touch on, and it's this entire disqualification controversy. While it's fun to talk about and like dig into, I also hate it because when I was trying to figure out what's going on, I may have found the worst Pokemon YouTuber in the world, and I will not say their name out loud because I don't want people going and finding them. But they just using the entire situation to like rage bait and wank themselves off for feeling good about other people getting disqualified.
No, I know that that person is notorious in the community, and that's all he does. They have been doing. They've been doing it for 6 or 7 years. They're the worst human being.
How do people like that have a following?
Because they want to get worked up by it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like I don't think I've ever seen a single thing in a positive light about them in any of their videos. It's like I've never even heard they make a good point. It's a dog shit take, dog shit take, dog shit take. How can somebody miss so much? But they're intentionally missing. But yeah, next year I'll be at the Worlds in Hawaii, hopefully. Got to keep winning, like DJ Khaled.
You win the VG season, I'm going to win Evo.
Yeah, we've done
blood packs right now.
No blood pack. What are your thoughts, Pat? You've got some opinions and thoughts.
I mean, most of it's been covered by you guys.
You're a code monkey. You should know about genning.
Well, so I think I've come around to this, right? In that sorry. What I mean when I say I've come around to this, what I mean is I've started on one side and I think I've finished on the other side. And that if you asked me this back when I played Pokemon, I want to say more seriously, but it's not even a serious thing. Just when I play Pokemon more, I would say put in the hours, stick to that grind, because that was the only way that I could beat people. Was I just had more genetically pure Pokemon than them, and therefore pound for pound my Pokemon were better. And that's because luck is never in my favor. In Pokemon Showdown, I actually counted it because it was so ludicrous. I think it took me 13 Scalds to get a burn.
Grim.
Yeah, just like that. That's just where my luck is. Right? It's just on the floor. So
Skull's got a high rate as well. It's like 20% or something. Gee, 30%. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Oh, I know. No one believed it either. Like a bunch of us were watching it. Just I click Scald after Scald and it just doesn't do anything. Anyway, so that's where I start with. So if I can put in the hours, because I liked just the Unga Bunga switch brain off, Masuda method, getting Pokemon that were competitively viable, that was just genuinely enjoyable. I just enjoyed the grind. I don't really know why. In hindsight, I still don't really know why. But the point is, so if you'd asked me back then, I would have said, put in the hours, grind it out. Now, I think it might have been while watching people like Pokemon Challenges and other people in terms of even the Nuzlocke thing of, because there was a time, maybe even 2 years ago, where Nuzlocks, or just Pokemon Challenges in general, were almost always doable if you just ground out levels and just over-leveled your Pokemon to some obscenely high level compared to what you were doing. That it was doable. It just took more and more amount effort and time. And then I think it was Pokemon Challenges who initially started doing it, but with mods he started putting in infinite rare candies. And at the time it was like, oh, I don't know about that. That's taking some of the challenge. And when I first saw a couple videos on it, it was like, nah, I don't like that you can just infinitely gen rare candies. That seems kind of shitty. And then it turned into, but if you mod it such that you lock it at a particular level, you can just skip the amount of grind it would take to get to that level, and then it's still a battle of skill, because the only thing you've skipped is the time taken between those 2 points. And so it's a bit conflicting, because I think in a game like Monster Hunter, there's a reason for that grind, right? I wouldn't want a way to just instantly get the 1% drop, because then it would make getting the 1% drop cheap. But at the same time, putting a system like Wyverian tickets in where you can trade a certain amount of resource for a 1% drop when luck just fucks you like it does me over and over again, I think adds to the game. And so I think my overall take is kind of similar to the take of, it's Pokemon, they organize the tournament, they can do what they want. If they don't want you to use Gen Pokemon, you can't be upset when they ban you. But I think in a sense, if I was organizing a tournament, I probably wouldn't care about genning Pokemon so long as everyone had equal access to the genning tools. That's for me the bigger thing. And so gamifying it and everything is great, but at the same time, like it used to be that you could choose whether to battle Pokemon at open level or battle Pokemon at level 50. And even Showdown in the randomizer battles, they have a particular balancing such that you might get a pseudo-legendary, but it's a lower level than a non-legendary, and it sort of balances out that way. And I think something like that might help level the playing field, where there's a sort of equilibrium between being able to gen whatever you want and being able to kind of turn up without any gen tools and still have something viable. But I think knowing that someone has put in more hours than someone else shouldn't have an impact on how the game goes. And I guess that's sort of where I land on it. But as I say, I don't think it's too different from what you guys have been talking about for the past 10 minutes anyway.
I don't disagree with you, but I want to go into a you're right, but you use the wrong formula to get here sort of argument against you, because you bring up like the challenge runs and Monster Hunter, and I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, but those are Monster Hunter is a co-op game, but primarily those sort of situations are kind of like, well, you're playing yourself, so what you do doesn't matter as much as a competitive situation, where in a competitive situation, you don't want to give those sort of like advantages, I feel. And yeah, like giving the gen tools for everyone to just kind of use to go into tournament and make their teams, I guess, is like the kind of workarounds that you could do. But I think there's also kind of a point of you should be going and playing the game and catching the Pokemon, and genning does take that game element out of it and just turns it into a, this is what I want to bring, and then at a drop of a hat, because let's say it's probably rare that this could happen, but someone comes in with a meta shaking team, and then just at a drop of the hat, it's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to gen something to counter that now. And that would be like a really, I feel like that's cheap to do that way.
But you'd have to register your team at the start of the tournament, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you would,
Yeah.
but it's more like a in tournament, yeah, it wouldn't happen, but like it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't know where I'm really coming from. It's like,
No, I get what you're saying.
yeah,
but
like I'm thinking broad multiplayer as well. In like, yeah, in a tournament setting, you wouldn't be able to do that, but also broad multiplayer is just like, oh well, this is the meta defining thing. I will quickly gen something to go against that, and that's really odd to me. But I also like, for competitive multiplayer, I come from the fighting game side of things, where it's just like, yeah, no, the person
just
that's
gen skills.
yeah, you just gen skills. You don't spend time practicing the game. You just come in, you're like, oh yeah, here's my character, here's what they do, and at the optimal times, I'm going to try and do these things, and then it's like, oh hey, here's my character. It's like, I don't like that one. I'm going to switch to this one then.
So I guess my question for you, Saif, is I get what you're saying, but I think I can distill it into a question where you have two people playing for the championship or whatever, right? One person has 10,000 hours in Pokemon. The other person has 3,000 battles in Pokemon. On paper, who do you expect to win?
It depends, honestly, on how much time that other person has, like, what they've done with those 10,000 hours of Pokemon.
Thank you. That's exactly my point. Because where you're coming from says this person with a meta-shaking team or whatever deserves to win because the barrier
I don't think they deserve to win is the thing.
I know what you're saying, but where I'm trying to get to is that we're used to seeing the amount of work going into a game being the equivalent of the skill that someone has in that game. Someone that has 15,000 hours in Rocket League will kick the ass of someone that has 500 hours in Rocket League. But if 14,500 hours of that is idling on the main menu screen or grinding to breed a Pokemon, then the work that they are putting into the game isn't in upskilling at the game. It is kind of in background work before they can, like, it's kind of like, I guess the fighting game equivalent of someone who only spends time in the training arena versus someone who only spends time fighting other people online. Those two people are going to have very different experiences when they go to a tournament. And I guess I stand by my points because where I'm trying to get to is that if someone knows that they have to spend 500 hours building a Pokemon team, I think the 500 hours spent battling is way better for the community than 500 hours running backwards and forwards hatching eggs.
Yeah, it is, but I think Pokemon has gone to a point where that 5,000 hours has been reduced to 5 hours. So when it comes to the VGC itself, just do those 5 hours to avoid those rule breaks.
Yeah, fair enough. Final thoughts from you, Steve? We got to move on.
Yeah, let's move on. I've said all my thoughts. I'm going to win next year.
by
With
genning your
teams,
Pokemon, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good. I also think, yeah, final thought, just because it was brought up, but I didn't really touch on it. I think having someone who is skillful enough at the game not being able to compete because they don't have access to a particular Pokemon is a weird way to hamstring them, but that sort of is the territory with Pokemon. So I don't like it, but I understand why it's there. Anyway, we should probably move on. Second to last, Jeff Keighley has some Jeff Keighley news. Who wants to talk about Jeff Keighley? Going once, going twice.
Don't get excited about Gamescom, or rather his opening night live event that starts Gamescom, because he's saying there's not going to be a big focus on new things. It's more going to be focusing on updates to games that are already announced. Which, you know, he
mentions Alan Wake too, so I mean, kind of based.
Yeah. So, you know, I like to know more things about the games that are going to be coming up. I want to know what to spend money on and what to wait for sales for. And yeah, so this isn't too big of a deal for me. Like, not everything needs to be big, bombastic. Here's like 20 new games that are going to be coming out over the next 5 years. I think just having a show that's going to be hey, here's like an update on stuff that's going to come out over the next 12 months is fine. And I'm glad that he's come out and just tempered those expectations early.
People are still going to be angry if it doesn't, like, if they don't release Elden Ring 2 or something.
We still need to know more about the Elden Ring DLC.
I was going to say, there is still DLC. Yeah.
And it is days before Armored Core 6 comes out. Speaking of which, it's not on the news docket. Did you guys know that Armored Core 6 is going to have 3v3 multiplayer? I found that out last night.
Yeah, I didn't ask. But yeah, good on him.
I figured there'd be some sort of multiplayer. I didn't realize it was 3v3. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
No, I just found that out last night and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Very excited to see how that looks.
Cool. Any final thoughts on Jeff Keighley?
No, not much else to add.
He's a good bloke.
Wait, should I mention when
I think it's August 22nd.
Yeah.
Which will probably be August 23rd for us.
Yeah.
Very soon.
When is it August? Oh, it's a Wednesday. Oh my god, it's probably going to be like 3 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday for us.
Good. Stay up.
I will simply sleep for work instead.
Coward.
Best thing he said in the history of FTL, and it was on the podcast. Final news. Some sad news for you, Steve.
Is it?
All of the money that you didn't spend on Xbox 360 stuff because you were waiting for it to come to Game Plus is going to go to waste because it's closing on July 29th.
Yeah.
2024, I should say. 2024, so like next year. Not it's already closed. That would be weird, but
yeah,
it's closing.
It's literally
we're reporting on it late.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Interesting. A lot of the Microsoft stuff. Yeah, I don't really know how that's going to work.
Isn't it crazy that they spend $70 billion acquiring a company, but they can't afford to keep Xbox 360 Marketplace open?
There's probably like 2 people that are buying that. But you can still buy things on the Xbox.com store, I think.
Yeah, if it's backwards compatible, then yes, this is purely going to affect the Xbox 360 games that haven't been made backwards compatible and are on the store.
Like that Transformers game.
I don't think those Transformers games are on a digital marketplace. Like because of licensing issues, Activision had to take them off the digital stores.
They're gone forever.
Those games
just
aren't real.
On.
I told you before, the only way to get them is physical.
But yeah, no, I'm not surprised. Like everybody seems to be putting the old marketplaces out to pasture.
Remember how we bullied Sony into not closing the PS3 store? Do you think we can do it with Xbox?
I don't. Look, let's look at the comments of this Gematsu article.
The first one is, I thought Papa Phil was all about game preservation. I hope we get more BC updates soon.
Yeah. I don't really care. Like, there's so many stuff going out. Like, at what point are we just saving things for the sake of saving things? Like, and look, I don't want to get into an argument. I know I'm playing the Pokemon Game Boy game from 1998. That's fine. That's a good game. And good games will be saved. Bad games won't be. How many movies come out that we lose? Good.
We don't actually lose that many movies, I think.
Yeah, well, you know what you're about to lose? Your fucking life when I can take it from you.
Holy shit. Could have said
I
wallet,
make a joke about him taking my hands and that's too far, but now he's actually just straight up threatening me.
In Minecraft.
Okay, it's a Minecraft.
That was a very large gap. That's why I was worried.
Seth, learn to take a joke, all right? It was Minecraft.
Yeah, come on, man. No one can take a joke these days. No flakes.
Sorry, the gap was longer than 5 seconds, which, that's longer than I can pay attention.
Podcast boring. Family Guy time.
Longer than it's safe to eat off the floor.
Podcast so good. I have some very strong thoughts.
Ignore that the floor food has dog hair on it.
What?
I have 3 dogs. There's hair everywhere.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
I thought that was a Pinky Doll slight. Anyway, shout out to my NPC watchers. Cool. Any final thoughts on the Xbox stuff?
No.
I have many thoughts, but I've had those many thoughts when we talked about it happening to the PlayStation Store and the Wii U store. So all I'm going to say is I'm going to be very excited for when the completionist does a video next year about how he bought and downloaded every single
game.
Xbox 360 download store game.
Base. Cool. Well, in that case, we shall move on to our new favorite segment, Steamcharts. We got two Steam chart challenges for the crew, for the cast and crew.
2 Steam chart challenges.
2. They'll be fast, don't worry. One on the back of Baldur's Gate 3 releasing. I will give you the numbers because that is not the challenge. So Baldur's Gate 3.
3.
Current players 428,000 on Steam.
Oh. That's a lot.
So my question is, there is a
How many are playing Exoprimal?
yeah, is it higher or lower than Exoprimal? No. My question is, starting at the 10th most popular game, which is Team Fortress 2, 87,160 players. How many ranks from 10th up is Baldur's Gate more than? So Baldur's Gate, let me rephrase it. Baldur's Gate, 428,000 people. What I want is Baldur's Gate 3 currently has more players than the 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, and 6th most popular games on Steam charts, or something. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So 10th is Team Fortress 2, 87,000. So how many games above 10th? Because obviously it's more than 10th, right? So if you say just 10th, I'm going to slap you. But how many games more than 10th up the chart is Baldur's Gate 3 got more players than?
I reckon it's like number 4, so I reckon it's 6 higher.
Baldur's Gate 3 is the 3rd most.
I didn't even get a chance to answer.
Yeah.
No. That's not the chat. Fuck me. Okay, maybe this was too hard. It's easy in my head. So 10th, Team Fortress 2, 87,000 players. 9th, Wallpaper Engine, some number of players. 8th, Path of Exile, some number of players. 7th, Grand Theft Auto 5, some number of players. How many up from 10th is Baldur's Gate 3 more than?
Oh, okay, I'm with
10th
you. I'm with
plus
you.
9th plus 8th plus blah, 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 blah.
Okay. So I reckon it's 200,000 more players.
Okay, so how many? So what? You think like 10th plus 9th plus 8th or something? Like how many do you think 200,000
is that how
is?
you want us to do it?
Like you want us to
fucking
combine those
confusing.
numbers together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why I keep trying to give you 10th is 87,000.
Yeah.
So 9th will have more than that. 8th will have more than that again. How many ranks do you think Baldur's Gate 3 has more than?
Hold on.
I reckon up to 6.
Up to 6?
How many players did Baldur's Gate have again?
428,000
something.
428,000.
Yep. And Team Fortress 2 has 87,000.
87,000, you said?
Yeah. So 9th will be more than 87, but less than 428.
That's a 341,000 player difference.
Yeah. So how many more ranks do you think, combining them?
Oh, I'm going to say up to 6. I'm gonna be daring and say up to 6.
Okay, so you've both said up to 6. I don't know what to do here.
If we're both wrong, then you win.
Oh, then the house wins. We're playing house rules. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, let's go for that.
So when you say up to, is that up to and including?
Yes.
Yes.
Then you're both wrong.
Damn it.
If you just said up to, you would have been right. It's more than 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th put together.
I was umming and eyeing about going with 7, but I was like, no, I'll be daring and say it's 6.
GTA 5, 112, Path of Exile, 96, Wallpaper Engine, 94, Team Fortress 2, 87. But Naraka Blade Point, which is number 6, has 132,000, so it would have just tipped over.
Right.
Ooh.
But it's still showed. Baldur's Gate 3, that's pulling numbers.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 has been doing insanely well.
Second challenge. It lives or dies based on this question. Have you guys heard of a game called Let's Build a Zoo?
No, I have not.
Okay, I haven't either. And I will tell you up front, it has an all-time peak of 1,619 players. I actually don't know when it came out. From actually, that's just the stats. So again, Exoprimal. It's an Exoprimal challenge. 4,500. We've all heard of Exoprimal. None of us have heard of Let's Build a Zoo.
I feel like this is a layup to dunk on Exoprimal.
No, it is shockingly close. There is a difference of 50. One of them has 693 players. One of them has 642 players. Which is which? It's literally 50-50.
I feel like this is a layup to dunk on Exoprimal, so I'm going to say that Exoprimal is a lower one.
I'm going to say Exoprimal is a higher one. I reckon this is a just fucking weird statistic.
Let's Build a Zoo has more players than Exoprimal.
I knew this was a layup to dunk on Exoprimal.
It wasn't an intentional layup to dunk. It's just because of how close the number of players are, and I've never heard of Let's Build a Zoo.
No, but the way you were phrasing these, like, we haven't heard of this one, but we've heard of this one.
Apparently it's a really good game, like 9.0 on Steam.
Anyway, the main one was the Baldur's Gate 3 thing, but I fucked up trying to describe how I wanted the answer back, so... Man, that's going to sound really fun to people that are just driving on their way to work and hearing three of us screaming at each other about what ranks are.
You know what isn't doing very well on Steam, Steven? Overwatch 2.
Uh-huh.
146.
I do not care for Overwatch 2. I do not
almost
care
147,000 reviews, overwhelmingly negative.
Yeah, well,
I didn't think it was out on Steam yet. I thought that was coming later this month.
No, it's out now.
They've
It came out 11th of August.
They've really been pushing in the advertising for it as well, because apparently the player numbers are doing dog shit.
Look forward to a Steamcharts Overwatch 2 challenge next week. Good. Right. Well, no audience question this week, so this is the end of episode 86. Anything you guys want to tease for next week?
Either Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep or Disco Elysium. But I'm moving to Melbourne, so I'm not really sure how much I'll be able to make next week. Maybe we take a week off. Public holiday?
Okay. You don't get to decide that. But yeah. I guess if Steven's missing next week, then I don't know, because I'm going to save Bomb Rush Cyberpunk for when he's around, so I can force him to buy that at full price when it comes out on Xbox next month. Which I think is also around the time that Starfield comes out.
It's like the day before or the day after. Like, it's criminally close. But yeah, what about you, Pat? You doing stuff?
No.
You genning Pokemon?
No. Oh. Maybe a bit more
He's
Hollow Knight.
genning a hobby.
I'm trying to gen some time.
Most valuable resource.
Not going very well, boys, I'll tell you. Anyway. We don't have an audience question this week, but you are happy to. We're happy for you to send us one. Feel free to get in touch with us on. It still feels weird to say on X. I don't like that. On Twitter at Boss Travel Lounge -1 of the L's.
You know what? The URL still says twitter.com on my browser.
No, Pat's right. Get in touch with my ex.
Tell them Steve sent you. We're also on Facebook, Boss Travel Lounge, and good old mailbag, bosstravellounge@gmail.com. If you have enjoyed listening to this, as I say every week, absolute train wreck of an episode, feel free to spread the love. Giving us a review or rating really helps us out, boosting us on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you happen to be tuning in from. But regardless, I have been Pat. I've been joined by Saif and Steve. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Happy birthday, Melbourne. I'm going to be inside you very soon.